Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and the time is now 6 p.m. And Ms. Secretary, can we have the roll call, please? Mr. Wilson did inform me that he had late work duty tonight, and if he is able to make it, it will be later on this evening. At this time, could everyone please stand for the pledge to the United States and Texas flags. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the
flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, first things first, I've been told that the air conditioning is at full blast. Is that correct, Mr. Butler? Yes, sir. Okay. If you guys are warm out there, he's the guy to see, okay? I want to welcome everybody to the SCU-CISD Board of Trustees meeting. Raise your hand if this is the first meeting you've been to. Sure, quite a few. You guys are all here for the easements we're going to discuss later on tonight? Okay. We want to welcome everyone. This is our last board meeting before the end of the school year. I know most of you are here tonight for student recognitions. We have a lot of those. It's probably going to take about an hour, but it's very important. I mean, the kids are why we're here. And it's always great to see the families support those students and all their accomplishments during the year. The gentleman here to my left, to your right, is Dr. Gibson. He's our superintendent. The other folks up here are the trustees, and on the two ends we have our student representatives for the night. And out here in front, these are our upper level administrators. So if you guys need anything or have any complaints or kudos or whatnot, those are typically the folks that you need to talk to. And I'll tell you, each one of the trustees, we care about this district, we care about the schools. So we welcome any kind of feedback, pros and cons that you guys are willing to offer. We also have forms in the very back when you first came in. If you don't feel like speaking publicly to us, you're more than welcome to fill out a form, just provide us some suggestions. We're all committed to making this district the best it can be, and appreciate everyone's support. At this time, we'll go ahead with the Vice President's recitation of the district's mission, vision, values, and priorities. Westbrook?
Our vision statement is to prepare every student to be a productive citizen. Our values are leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning. Our mission statement, Sherman-Silverville Universal City Independent School District provides a safe, secure, and challenging learning environment through the responsible use of all resources to afford opportunities for all students to realize their individual potential and to become responsible and productive members of society. Our priorities are priority number 1, high achievement for all students, priority number 2, high performing and engaged workforce, and priority number 3, effective and efficient district and campus operations.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. This time we'll have the board's recitation of the district belief statements. Mr. Burke?
We believe all students have the capacity to learn and be successful. We believe a safe, secure environment is paramount to learning. We believe living our core values of leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning result in the ability to set and achieve lifelong goals.
We believe quality instruction addresses the individual needs of students. We believe engaging, interactive, and authentic teaching creates empowered, active learners prepared for our changing world.
We believe embracing technology as a relevant tool enhances learning in and beyond the classroom. We believe in a professional learning community culture that allows time to collaborate and share best practices in order to improve continuing learning.
We believe good communication is critical to success. We believe lifelong learning enriches staff through professional development.
We believe measures of our success go beyond standardized testing, and we believe public education is defined by the local community with limited state involvement.
Thank you, trustees. Do want to let everyone know that I estimated here for about the first hour we're going to do student recognition and recognition of some of our employees. We then have a few other fairly simple items, and we will be taking a break. So those of you that came here to watch your students get recognized, there'll be a natural time for everyone to get up and go. You're more than welcome to stay with us for the remainder of the night. Can't promise you how long we'll go, but it may be fairly late. Again, you guys will be welcome to leave at that time, or you can stay for the remainder of the meeting. At this time, we're going to go ahead with our recognition items, and I'll turn that over to Dr.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, trustees, school staff, and guests, students. Always my honor to kick off the recognition each month with our 2 students from our traditional high schools. And so tonight we're honored to have Hunter Neal, a 12th grader from Clemens, and Raven Jones, a 12th grader from Steele High School, with us as our student representatives. And students are, you all will, almost said children, but young men and women, because you're about to graduate and go out into the world. If you would meet your designated administrator at the podium, we look forward to hearing from you tonight, and welcome to our board meeting. Thank you for keeping it on.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. Tonight I am honored to introduce Hunter Neal, a senior at Samuel Clemens High School representing the Technology Student Association. He is the son of Heather and Brian Beckman, and Mrs. Beckman is in attendance tonight. Ms. Beckman, will you please stand and be recognized? Also in attendance is Melissa Gossick, TSA sponsor. Ms. Gossick, thank you so much for going above and beyond for our bus. Will you please stand? Hunter was born in San Antonio, but moved to the Schertz area when he was 8 years old. He has been an active participant in school activities, including football and track the last 4 years, National Honor Society, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and our UIL Academics Accounting team. Also important to note is that Hunter represented Samuel Clemens at Boy State at the University of Texas at Austin his junior year. Students who receive this honor are chosen by teachers because of their high academic standards and strong leadership skills. Hunter has set some lofty goals and has impressive plans for his future. I don't want to steal any of his thunder. He has included that in his speech, but I will add that both Mr. Pruski and Mr. Inman will be very impressed. Without further ado, Mr. Hunter Neal.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and other members of the board. I would like to thank you for recognizing Samuel Clemens TSA at this board meeting tonight. Last year, I had the pleasure of serving as president of our school TSA chapter. TSA is a nationwide STEM-based organization that builds leadership and teamwork through the process of building technology skills. Compared to years prior, we have accomplished more than I could have ever dreamed. This year, we hosted the TSA regional competition at Samuel Clemens High School. And with the help of our membership, our amazing sponsors, and our hardworking custodial staff, our TSA chapter has been on a steady incline to become one of the most influential chapters in the San Antonio area. While in the process of hosting and working in the regional competition, we had 13 students advance to state level competitions through their hard work and dedication. During our TSA conference in April, we had 4 state champions prevail, including myself. Other highlights from state conferences included a team of placing 3rd in a national qualifying event, and our first year robotics team placing 28 out of 36 teams. For being such a newly founded organization and chapter, we have experienced such great success in all of our competition as a whole. During my high school career, I have been grateful enough to be a part of many organizations, from NHS to varsity football to Texas Boys State, and also many others. TSA was a unique experience for me. It helped me become a confident leader and helped me find the major that I want to study and pursue in college and after. Next year I will attend Texas A&M University and major in biomedical engineering. And after that I plan to attend law school and specialize in patent law. Got a little tricky there. I would like to thank you for allowing me this possibility. With the help of our TSA sponsors, Ms. Gossick, Ms. Hendricks, and my TSA chapter. Thank you again, and go Bucks.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. My name is Deborah Ibarra, Assistant Principal at Steele High School. I'm very proud tonight to present to you Raven Jones, who is representing our aquatics program. Raven's family is with us tonight. Please stand and be recognized. Miss Maria Fain, our aquatic sponsor, is also here with us. Please stand. Raven is a leader of the aquatics program. She has been a part of the SAFE and DECA programs for the last 2 years as well. Outside of school, she is a youth leader for the Catalyst Youth Ministries. Through the ministry, she has participated in activities such as Christmas gift wrap parties, donating food to families via HEB programs during the holidays, the Great Gobbler giveaway, and back-to-school bashes. Raven was born in San Antonio but grew up in Germany until the 2nd grade. She's been in our district since the 4th grade. She's now a senior at Steele High School with a GPA of 92.73 and ranked at the top of her class of 531 graduates. She's been accepted to A&M University in Corpus Christi. She plans to major in marine biology and pursue a PhD. Her hopes are to one day be a part of the first team to develop a method for humans to breathe underwater. I now present to you Raven Jones.
First up, I would like to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak in front of you today about the Steele Aquatics program. And on behalf of the team, I would also like to thank you for the amazing practice school. The team has enjoyed the beautiful aquatics facility, as it is said. The swim team, never in my entire life have I met such a group of individuals. True, my life hasn't been that long. I still believe the swim team is a force to be reckoned with. What other team do you know wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, should jump into ice cold water and be constructively directed for an hour and a half? Not many teams that I know of. In 4 years, I have become truly proud of this team. We have made a lot of improvement. In 2016, we sent our first athlete in Steele history to state, and in 2017, we sent our second athlete in 2 events, the 200 free and the 500 free. We are always reaching personal bests and breaking school records. This year alone, we dropped over 300 seconds in personal bests and broke 9 school records. We finished second in our districts and at the top 10 in regions. Our team trains for hours a week and all to drop a few seconds, but we learn the value of those few seconds. It reminds us of our commitment and our love for swimming. Trust me, you can easily fall in love with swimming. It is often described as a love-hate relationship, but in all seriousness, the Steele Aquatics program is going places, and I can't wait to see it how far. Thank you.
Congratulations, students. Next up, we have recognition of the 2017 HEB Excellence in Education Rising Star Award winner, Mr. Ricky Davis, and the presentation will be done by Mr. Dr. Edwards. Mr. Doctor. Doctor. Doctor and a Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Inman. It is a pleasure tonight to be able to introduce one of our outstanding educators who was named, last Sunday night was named the 2017 HEB Excellence Education Rising Star winner. HEB launched the Excellence in Education Awards in cooperation with TASA in 2002 as a positive way to support public education in Texas. The awards celebrate public school professionals whose leadership and dedication inspire a love of learning in students of all backgrounds and abilities. The Rising Star Award, which was mentioned earlier, recognizes teachers with less than 10 years of experience in the classroom. And that being said, would you please help me recognize Mr. Davis, teacher for Schertz Elementary School. No, okay.
I just want to say for everyone, this is actually a huge honor. HEB did a great job with this presentation, and it's a statewide honor. You want to share with everyone where you met your wife?
At HEB.
Kind of teasing Mr. Davis a little bit about saying speech. He is no stranger to the microphone. He delivered an incredible speech, the speech of the night last Sunday evening. And so don't let him fool anybody. That man can talk. It's also an honor to be able to recognize some more of our incredible educators. 2 years ago, we created the Aspiring Leader Academy for campus leaders seeking opportunities to learn more about leadership. The Academy was held on Wednesday evenings once a month throughout the school year, and district leaders presented information in their areas of expertise. The first semester focused primarily on instructional leadership and building capacity in that area. Followed with the second semester, several of our other leaders came in and talked about more of a systems operation and how those work together for the betterment of children. This included special programs, budget finance, purchasing, facilities, and construction, maintenance, and transportation. The purpose of this was to support the development of strong educational leadership and to prepare educators for leadership positions in SCUC ISD. To develop and enhance educational leadership that will improve student learning and overall organizational effectiveness. We believe these align with our beliefs of the core leadership, character, commitment, service, learning, result in the ability to set and achieve lifelong goals. Professional learning community culture that allows time to collaborate and share best practices. And lifelong learning, enriching staff through professional development. I'd like to share with you a couple of comments that came from our leaders in this area. One of them wrote, "It helped me to understand how every department works together and communicates to run a lean and successful district. The opportunities for leadership are amazing." Another one wrote, "I was able to get a big picture view of how different systems work together within our district. I was able to see the direction the district is headed and how we use all departments to support the learning needs of students." A couple more. The Aspiring Leader Academy is a program that will help you understand what leadership looks like in SCUC ISD. It will build your confidence to lead from where you are. The Academy will show you pieces of school district operations and how all of these pieces fit together to accomplish what's best for students. If you want to grow in your skills and knowledge as an SCUC leader, you've got to apply this academy. And then finally, through empowering future leaders to learn with and through one another, The Aspiring Leader Academy at SCUCISD offers all aspiring leaders the opportunity to grow professionally and personally. These opportunities range from having a more global perspective while digging into district-wide data, goals, and needs. Completing the ALA will leave all participants feeling as though they have more value and significance in our rapidly growing district. And that statement right there really kind of sums it up. And one of the things our goal was is to start, a build your own type of program. And we've had this second year now of just incredible leaders go through this academy. And tonight we'd like to recognize those, the individuals we're going to recognize tonight at the board meeting were members that missed one or fewer times all year. And this was a big commitment. They're coming straight from classrooms and campuses where they've been working all day, and then to come in and for 2 more hours to embrace and really and just gather the learning that was provided by the group of leaders that led that. So I'd like to start off with, the first introduction will be Claudia Romano from Allison Steele. Pamela Shaw from Byron Steele. Melissa Roundtree, Byron Steele. Michelle Friedrich, Cibolo Valley Elementary. Patrick Lowe's from Clemens High School. Orlando Gonzalez, Clemens High School. Rhonda Roscoe, Clemens High School. Russell Kennedy, Clemens High School. Nicole Rosa Saunders from Clemens High School. Linda Richardson, Corbett Junior High. Edwards, Corbett Junior High. Rachel Crows, Corbett Junior High. April Davenport, Dover Junior High. Amanda Gill, Green Valley Elementary. Baker, Pasco Elementary. Mary Hoffman, Pasco Elementary. Another one of our members who wasn't able to be here tonight but did meet the criteria of being recognized in front of the board is Erica Sanchez from Schertz Elementary. Jana Hodge, Cibolo Elementary. Kelly Russ, Weederstein Elementary. Lori Gorman, Weederstein Elementary. And Kelly Crane. be able to join me one more time in congratulating Timothy. As you can see, the future at SCUC looks bright.
Congratulations, everyone. Next up, we have recognition of student resource officers. Ms. Chang.
Good evening, Mr. and Dr. Gibson and members of the board. Tonight, we want to recognize our school resource officers. SCUC ISD has received a tremendous amount of support from our Schertz PD officers, Sergeant Joshua Mixon, Corporal Hillary Halberdier, and Officer Bill Freeman. Each officer willingly contributed time outside their normal work hours to research and implement a safety and crisis response plan for our district. Since September 2016, they have worked tirelessly coordinating with campus and district administrators to instill consistency and collaboration when planning for emergency incidents district-wide. Their contribution can be seen across the district as we focus on the personal and professional safety of all our students, employees, and facilities with the implementation of the Standard Response Protocol, or SRP, in coordination with the I Love You Guys Foundation. They have spent many hours creating personalized videos of our campuses to share with our students, and in particular, Corporal Hillary Halberdier has introduced Officer Blue to create a video for a Standard Response Protocol for especially our pre-K through 4th grade students. And it has actually been picked up by the I Love You Guys Foundation to use nationwide. We greatly appreciate their hard work, stalwart support, and positive contributions that each of our police officers have given to ensure the safety and security of our campuses and staff. Please help us recognize, and I love the three of you to come forward, please. And if you haven't, all the videos are really good, but especially the one with Officer Blue. If you haven't had the opportunity to see that, we want to make sure to share that. Come back. You're getting the picture. You're not getting the picture. Congratulations. Next, we are proud to recognize Green Valley Elementary School as the first SCUC campus to earn designation as a Franklin Covey Certified Lighthouse School. The campus was visited by 2 Franklin Covey reviewers as part of the bid on February 24, 2017. The Leader in Me Lighthouse School title is awarded by Franklin Covey to honor the attainment of a well-rounded leadership model. We applaud the efforts of the Green Valley community of students, families, staff, and community members for their dedication and leadership. The Lighthouse School designation truly exemplifies our SCUC core values of leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning. The Green Valley Student Lighthouse team is comprised of 1st and 4th grade students who live the 7 habits and bring energy, enthusiasm, and ideas that shape the culture of Green Valley. This year, the Student Lighthouse team shared our journey, celebrations, and victories with the Leader Review team, which has a key role in helping Green Valley achieve Lighthouse status. Tonight, representing their campus from 1st grade are students Chase Eaton, Nathan Huff, Isabella McDaniel, Cooper Mann, and Ashman Naram.
grade are Mila Clayton, Lila Gossett, Jocelyn Hatch, Connor Painter, and Kaylin Timrat. Representing third grade are Natalie Brown, Caden Doman, Bailey Painter, Lila Pivito, Statch Smith, and Caitlin Tasley. Representing the fourth grade are Mason Caramello, Riley Mina Howe, Aiden Mendoza, Madison Pulliam, and Nicholas Rontel. And the Student Lighthouse Team Advisors, Madison Thomas, Lori Pivito, Luann Redsloff, and Jill Herrick. The Staff Lighthouse team is comprised of a staff member for each grade level and special group at Green Valley. They're responsible for assisting students with putting their ideas into motion. These team members also assist their grade level and professional learning community teams integrate the 7 habits into the daily learning and work at Green Valley. This year, the Staff Lighthouse team worked many hours to compile the online evidence binder. These members are Bonnie Clutter from kindergarten, Stephanie Pendleton, 1st grade, Lori Pivito, 2nd grade, Brooke Ferguson, 3rd grade, Lee Hurt, 4th grade, Alicia Ellis, librarian, Amy Denman, assistant principal, and Shannon Johnson, principal. And a special recognition goes to Stephanie Hamilton, who was a founding member and facilitator of the Staff Lighthouse team. And parents of these students and staff members, thank you for your support and being part of the community. So students, we need you to come back up for pictures. 4th graders towards the back, 3rd, 2nd, 1st to the back. Adults to the back. And parents, you can come take your pictures. And where'd the staff go?
to student recognitions, just want to let everyone know, the parents that are here especially, last night we had what's called our Commitment to Excellence Award ceremony. The board up here, we represent the community, and we feel that this district is doing a fantastic job, and we hear a lot of good feedback from the parents, moms and dads and whatnot. We owe that all to the staff members, that's the administrators, the teachers, the other staff members that are working hard in our district and doing a good job on behalf of our kids. And so tonight, I don't want to miss anyone, but I think I will here. I just want to recognize two individuals that were honored last night. They were honored in front of staff members, but they rarely get honored in front of the parents and community members where they should be. So first off, I just want to recognize one of our administrators of the year, and that's Mr. Wayne Brusky, over in the White Shirt. He's in charge of our facilities. So if you look around, we've got a lot of nice new schools, new facilities in this district. And that's a huge job. We obviously have a lot of kids moving into our area, and he's the one that keeps us ahead of the game as far as that goes. And he is never under stress. That's what Dr. Gibson just said. That's right. Second person also got Administrator of the Year last night, but she also received what's called the Norma Pascal Award, which for this district is the equivalent to the MVP. So she's kind of like the Kawhi Leonard of Church Cibolo School District, and that's Pascal Principal Allison Miller. Ms. Miller? She was crying last night, so I just want to make sure everything's okay. Yeah, I think it's important for us to recognize some of these folks to the public as well, because they do really do a great job for our district. So proud of you guys. At this time, we'll go ahead with the student recognitions, and Ms. Che.
Thank you. Well, continuing on with our celebrations, we're here to recognize some more students who have achieved outstanding academic and athletic distinction. We applaud their commitment and dedication to perform in these areas and bring excellence to our district. And parents, students, parents, and friends, thank you for joining us tonight and for this chance to recognize the athletic and academic excellence of your students. And students, congratulations on your accomplishments and best of luck to your bright future. So starting with aquatics, the Academic All-State. The Texas Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association Academic All-State Award is given to swimmers who are varsity status and have carried a 93.75 GPA. Samuel Clemens Aquatics team placed 10th overall at regionals and second place within our district. This season began the successful start of the diving team and the new addition of the local YMCA, which has allowed our team to be even more competitive. Representing Clemens tonight are Hannah Borland, Jessica Herrera, and Preston Kaiser.
Come on back and get your picture with the board.
Congratulations. Reagan shared earlier a little bit about the Steel Aquatics team. They also had an amazing season this year with placing second overall at the district meet, the best overall finish since moving to 6A. The girls team placed in the top 10 at the Region 7 swimming and diving championships, for the first time in school history. 9 school records were broken this year, including the boys medley relay school record by 4 freshmen. So we'll be hearing from them about it for several years. Representing Steel tonight for the awards are Isabel Amon, Holly Bruner, David Judah Hartman, and Danilo Martinez. from Steele High School, Evelyn Bruner, who was also awarded the All-State in the 200 and 500 freestyle as a freshman. She broke school records in both of these events, as well as the 100 free. Tisca compiles all swims and ranks performances. The top 16 in the state are recognized in each event. Please help us recognize Evelyn Bruner. Congratulations. We look forward to hearing you about you the next 3 years. Congratulations. Moving on to our baseball academic all-state students. These four received the academic all-state award from the Texas High School Coaches Association and/or the Texas High School Baseball Coaches Association. The criteria required: they must be a senior, a good moral character, a member of the team in good standing, and maintained an overall GPA of 93 or above since their freshman year. In addition to their academic and athletic activities, all four are also active in extracurricular activities and received SAT scores of 1050 to 1220. Representing Steele High School, Patrick Gruber, who will attend St. Mary's University, Megan Herring, who will attend Texas A&M University, Cody Massey, who will be attending Sam Houston State University, and Sarah Perrin, who will attend Abilene Christian University. Congratulations. The Steele girls basketball team had a great year with a 29-7 record, district champions, and regional quarterfinalists. This team holds the school record for the most points in a game at 97 points, and also the school record for team defense by holding teams to less than 37 points per game. This year, 11 of the 12 players made the academic all-district team, and 9 seniors made the academic all-district team. Most impressive is that all 9 seniors will be attending college on athletic or academic scholarships. Not only are these ladies imposing on the court, but they also excel in academics. The following ladies received the Academic All-State Award from the following associations: Texas High School Coaches Association, Texas Association of Basketball Coaches, and Texas Girls Coaches Association. The requirement includes an overall GPA of 92 or 94 and above in grades 9 through 11. Representing Steele High School, Antonia Anderson, Taylor Baker, Camille Cunningham, Morgan Dozier, and Kyra Breed-Vick. Congratulations. In addition to receiving academic All-State, the next ladies received the All-State Award from the same associations: Antonia Anderson and Camille Cunningham. Come back up. Pasco honor the next three gentlemen with the Academic All-State Award for maintaining a GPA of 90 or above. The Clemens boys soccer team finished the 2017 season with an overall record of 17 wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties. They finished as undefeated 6A district champions for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. Were ranked number 2 in the area by San Antonio Express News and ranked 12th in the South Texas region by Top Drawer Soccer. 4 seniors from this year's team will be continuing their soccer careers at the collegiate level next year. Help us congratulate Zachary Diadomenico, Cameron Jones, Stephen Lenko.
Say boss, 1, 2, 3, boss.
Yeah, that was convincing.
Congratulations.
The next student to receive the Texas High School Coaches Association Academic All-State Honors is Julia Canes. In addition to a rigorous softball schedule, Julia has an overall GPA of 101.65 and ranks 26th in her senior class at Clemens. Julia, please come and be recognized.
Being the girls should be louder. 3 boss, 1, 2, 3, boss.
Great job, Jason Schraub, women's tennis coach, will accept the next certificates on behalf of the seniors who are unable to attend. They were also awarded Academic All-State by the Texas High School Coaches Association. Students must be a senior, be in good standing with the team, and maintain an overall GPA of 92 or above since their freshman year. Clemens' tennis team had a series of firsts for the Buffaloes this year, including defeating the 10-time state champion New Braunfels. They are here. They recognize them. Let me finish reading off the videos. Okay, we'll just have to say it again. Defeating the 10-time state champion New Braunfels and earning the title of by-district champions. These 5 seniors led the way and showed the younger players not only how to win on the course, but how to win in the classroom. On the court is what I should say. Sorry. Most importantly, all 5 seniors will be attending Division I universities because of their academic accomplishments over the past 4 years. Schools such as Notre Dame, Purdue, Texas A&M, and University of Texas will be receiving these fine student athletes. Help us recognize Mason Dodd, Noah Deal, Lumari Perez, Mario, how do I say your last name correctly?
Chicado,
thank you, and Jacob Wilkins. Congratulations.
I'm not saying a
Yeah, you
word.
gonna try again?
Come on, 3 times a charm. They were ready.
Congratulations. This next group of sharp-looking seniors received the Texas High School Coaches Association Academic All-State Award for maintaining an overall GPA of 92 or above, including class rank and ACT, SAT scores, and achieved varsity status. Representing Clemens High School, Garrett Anders, Gavin Coffey, Carlos Galvan, Hunter Neal, and Sam Valle. Sam Valle, sorry, Sam. Congratulations. Track regionals was held on April 28th and 29th. The following amazing students qualified for state in their respective areas. The Clemens boys track team finished third in the district and second in the area and regional meets. From Clemens, Tommy Bush, first place in the 200 meters, and Carlos Galvan, second place in shot put, and first place in discus. Congratulations. The Steel Knight boys track team had a favorable 2017 season, finishing second overall in the district with athletes ranked amongst the best in America. In addition to breaking many personal and school records, the Knights swept the 110-meter hurdles at regionals, seizing all 3 spots on the award stand at the Alamo Stadium. Congratulations, Kenny Bordnat, second place, Tavian Carter, the triple jump first place, and JT Woods, 100 meter and 110 hurdles first place. Congratulations. Congratulations. Go back. Yes. You should get out.
Got it.
I have a student that, from Clemens track team that wasn't here when we were checking off original. We want to be sure to recognize her. Chelsea Edwards earned academic All-State for track and will be attending the U.S. Naval Academy and be on their track team. Chelsea.
Proud of you, Chelsea.
Congratulations. Next, we will be recognizing some students for their performance in career and technology. The Family Career and Community Leaders of America, or FCCLA, is a national career and technical student organization that provides personal growth, leadership, and career preparation opportunities for students in family and consumer sciences education. The following students placed second and were selected to compete in the upcoming national competition in their respective categories in Nashville, Tennessee, July 2nd through the 6th. Representing Steele High School, for food innovations, Shakira Al-Ariabi. Shakrina, thank you, sorry. Kaylee Early, National Programs in Action, and Kaylin Oliveira, National Programs in Action. Congratulations. Congratulations. The Future Farmers of America, or FFA, helps the next generation of students explore their interests in a broad range of agricultural career pathways. The following students were state qualifiers in their respective areas and will compete in the upcoming 89th Annual Texas FFA Convention in Corpus Christi, Texas, July 10th through the 14th. From Clemens High School, Ayana Bagwell in entomology, Megan Frisbee, veterinary technology, Jordan Hines, veterinary tech, Austin Jackson, food science, Mackenzie Marcus, food science, Austin Pittman, food science, Cordelia Reagan, entomology, Paisley Roberts, nursery landscape, Hyper Smith, veterinary technology, Madison Trimble, veterinary technology, and Ashley Boyd, nursery landscape. And they've asked to have their picture taken with steel, so we'll let them go through and then we'll call out our steel recipients. And our steel students going to the the convention in July are Joseph Leachman for entomology, Lauren McClintock, floriculture, Reba Ritter, floriculture, and Michaela Seeger, floriculture. Let's represent all of these FFA students. Congratulations. They asked to get their picture made together because they travel to competitions together. And we're one district, so it makes sense all together. Congratulations.
That's panoramic, right?
Congratulations. Can't wait to hear from you. And last but certainly not least, tonight we will be recognizing some of our Health Occupation Student Association, or HOSA students. HOSA is an international student organization that promotes career opportunities in the healthcare industry. The following students competed in healthcare issues and were ranked in the top 10%, allowing them to qualify for the upcoming 40th Annual International Leadership Conference in Orlando, Florida, June 21st to the 24th. From Clemens High School tonight, Hannah Borland, Dahlia Harris, and Lincoln Peñalosa III. And we have two students from Steele who will be going, but we're not able to be here tonight. You can go back to your picture. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Did you have any comments? No, just confirm, did no one submit any public comments? Next item on the agenda is report on board advocacy. This is usually an opportunity for trustees to just, if they desire to do so, just talk about something they may have done over the past month or so, to be able to the trustees or the members of the public. So we'll start off with Mr. Brew. I'm supposed to begin.
So once again, y'all cut me off.
I don't really have anything.
Hey, the two things that I just want to talk about is, I think it was Friday, if I say it wrong, I apologize, but I went to Still High School for their Special Olympics recognition, and I'm going to tell you, if you've never been, it is just amazing to watch it, not just because of what the Special Olympic athletes did, but for the way the students respond to it. And, you know, I said, growing up, I don't think we ever did anything like that in the schools I was a part of. And it's just amazing how much support just the average student gives to these Special Olympians. And it just really shows, I guess, the value of what the school district's all about. And that was just the neatest thing to watch, just how everybody supported each other. The other thing was I got to go to the Powder Puff football game. I tried to coach my daughter, but she didn't listen to what I said, and so she didn't play the way I wanted her to. And I tried to try to cheat and chop block and stuff like that. The one thing I would say, hey, in the future, it would be neat to have the champion of one school play the champion of the other school. That was brought up by several, and I think that would be an interesting concept. I'll throw that out there, just for a thought.
Great. Westbrook?
Yeah, I've been, doing my watchdog thing at Green Valley Elementary on Tuesday. Also was able to participate in the high rounding session at Clemens High School, which was quite enjoyable. I appreciated that. And also was able to participate in a reading restaurant at Green Valley Elementary School, the Yellow Submarine shop, and had a great time with the first grade students there. And appreciated all those experiences. Thank you.
I was able to participate with the high-level rounding. Their transition seems to be going well in finance. We'll see when it's actually finished. But I'm sure they're doing very well. I was impressed. Facilities, I've learned that they're positioning vehicles with the equipment on it, so they don't have to come all the way back to get and load up the lawnmowers and take them all the way out every morning, and that seems to save a lot of time. That's very good planning. And I also learned a term at the DAEP, restorative discipline, and that's also very proactive. I believe it's becoming very successful. We also went to Jordan, and that was an enlightening visit. Just the tour we did, the short tour, and watching the kids interact with them and with the instructors.
I was also in the Yellow Submarine Reading Restaurant at Green Valley. It was great, as usual. Love reading restaurants. Great to watch those kids read. I was at the HEB Excellence Awards. That was a phenomenal event that HEB puts on. If you already didn't love that grocery store, you would fall in love that much more with it after seeing how they treat teachers as rock stars, public school teachers as rock stars, which they should. And then last but not least, this past Saturday, one prom was going on. I was at Savannah Hog Wild Benefit, which we just recognized the FFA kids. And that was one of our, in memory of one of our still past students that passed away. And they raised money to help purchase animals for all of our local kids at the Guadalupe County Livestock Show. And that was just a great event. A lot of our school employees were there, buying things just to purchase and help their own kids with those donations. So that was a great event as well.
Great. Anything further from trustees? Yeah. Thank you all. Next time we have is for board recess, but we do have several officials here from the city of Cibolo who have agreed to be here tonight for a short presentation. So if there's no objection, I'm going to go ahead and do them next. And then we'll take a recess after that. Okay with everybody? I do want to introduce a couple folks first. Two city councilmen for the city of Cibolo, Mr. Jim Russell. Welcome him here, as well as Mr. Jay Hogue. Okay. We also have Mayor Alan Dunn and City Manager Robert Herrera. Next time is for them to give a report, an update on the proposed toll road for the city of Cibolo, the Cibolo Parkway project. And as you guys come to the podium, just want everyone to know I contacted Mayor Dunn about a month ago or so. I just thought it'd be a good idea to have them come, give us a short presentation just to keep us posted and updated on what's taking place with the proposed toll road. Everyone knows we're not a decision maker in this process, but we obviously do have a stake in things and transportation and issues like that. So I do want to extend an appreciation to Mayor Dunn, Mr. Herrera, for agreeing to come tonight. And so trustees, it's really just an opportunity for us to get an overview of what's taking place, and then if you have any questions about how this may affect the district or transportation or growth of the district or whatnot, now would be the time to do that. Appreciate it again. Mayor Dunn, do we have it on the PowerPoint or so? Everything's set up for you?
Have it up here on, at least it's on my screen here.
Okay. Everyone good to go? Showing up there too?
So while they're getting that put together, let me say, President Inman and ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for inviting us out to talk to you a little bit about this project. And if I may, very quickly, I also have Councilman Ted Gibbs here, as well as Councilman Weber.
Welcome to you gentlemen as well. I didn't see you over there on the side. Appreciate it.
Okay, so everybody has it up on their screens now? All right, we're good to go. All right, so the Cibolo Parkway project, actually, let me start with this page and we'll back up very quickly. We've got three components here. So the real heart of this project is the Cibolo Parkway project. That's the part that's really the toll road that everybody is talking about. This is part of a more integrated concept for the 1103 corridor that includes the FM 1103 improvements that TxDOT is doing as a part of the bond that Cibolo passed back in 2014, I believe it is, for approximately $7 million. And that also includes the $2.5 million that Shirts passed as a bond package to improve 1103 from the very narrow farm to market road with a very hastily put together turning lane where you have subdivisions into a true 4-lane corridor with a dedicated turning lane. The Cibolo Expressway project is a part of an idea that we are looking at along with the Cibolo Turnpike, or LP, to not only widen out the existing corridor of FM 1103, but also add additional capacity over and above that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But backing up to the map, this shows the entirety of the FM 1103 corridor. And this project starts at the city limits of Cibolo on the north side, the city limits between Shirts and Cibolo. And this project will run all the way down to I-10, ending at approximately Zool Road. So getting back to the heart of this project, the Cibolo Parkway project is that dark black line that starts right at the southern end of FM 1103, right around the curve there by Steele High School and Wagonville Way. And it will extend down to I-10. Now let me add here very quickly that the final alignment of this road has not been selected. So there's still a lot of leeway in exactly where this alignment will fall. But that gives you a general idea of where that parkway is going to run. If you look at the yellow line that extends from Wild Road, FM 1103 there by Steele High School and goes north back up to I-35, this is the existing part of FM 1103, and if you take a look there in the legend very quickly, you see this is non-tolled. One of the key parts of this, when we very first started the process and really started considering this seriously, was the taxpayers paid for FM 1103 that's there today. They paid for the improvements that TxDOT is making to 1103. That's going to be free. It's always going to be free. That's always been a key and very fundamental piece of this project for the city of Cibolo. The Cibolo Expressway, you see, are three overpasses that are going to be located at North Lane, at Green Valley Road, and at Saddle Spoke Gatewood Bay. Now these overpasses, what these overpasses are, when you're driving down FM 1103, you come up to a stoplight and stop. You've got 2 lanes each direction, but it's a series of stoplights that you have to go through. As our area grows and you start putting more and more cars onto FM 1103, since that's really an example that we all really have experience with, the more cars you put on there, the more time you spend in between stoplights because you're coming to a start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. The overpasses on the existing part of 1103 are to bypass that start and stop so that the interior lanes can keep going through. They don't have to wait for the stoplights. The road will break around those overpasses so that you can still make your left turns, your right turns. You can go straight through the lights if you have to, so you maintain the functionality of the road just like you would with 3009. But if you don't need to stop at that light in this case, you can keep going. So what this does is it adds a tremendous amount of capacity for the future for the existing part of 1103. The Cibolo Parkway part of this, the toll part of this, what this is, in essence, is a privately funded roadway where the city of Cibolo is using a private funding mechanism to build a $125 million project. This project was identified as far back officially as 2006 actually, let me back up to the map one more time. This alignment was identified back in 2006 by TxDOT. FM 1103 represents the midpoint between State Highway 46 to the east of New Braunfels and FM 1604 to the west by San Antonio. If you look at a map, there is no other high-speed, high-capacity thoroughfare between those two. With the amount of growth that we have in this area, sooner or later, we are going to have a high-speed, high-capacity cut-through between I-10 to the north, or I-35 to the north, and I-10 to the south. FM 1103 is ideally located for this purpose. Now, as I'm sure everybody here has heard, Alamo area MPO and TxDOT don't ever seem to have any money. And when you look at the needs in the Alamo area MPO service area, they have somewhere in the neighborhood of, if memory serves, they have twice as much in terms of needs as they do in the amount of funds they have present or available to them to pay for those funds or pay for those needs. So for every $2 they need to spend on infrastructure improvements for the transportation network, they only have $1. Now that gets a lot more interesting when you consider the fact that Bexar County has somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million voters, whereas in Guadalupe County we have just a shade under 200,000. And even when you combine every surrounding county together against Bexar County, we still don't even come close. So when you look at the politics of the situation, to expect any funding to be coming our way anytime soon, I would suggest that's not something you should hold your breath for. It puts us in a situation knowing that funding is going to be very hard to come by, in a situation that we really need to start thinking outside of the box and really start looking for a way to make this happen here on our own terms rather than waiting for at least another 20 to 30 years, which incidentally is the same thing they were saying 10 years ago. So we're still 20 to 30 years out, 10 years later. Now, a second key part of this that I want to show to you on the map very quickly is you'll notice there are also overpasses at FM 78, Lower Seguin Road, and Bolton Road. So what these are, they're labeled as overpasses on the ledges, but these are interchanges. So these allow you to get on and off at FM 78, at Lower Seguin Road, and at Bolton Road. The idea behind this project was twofold: the high-speed, high-capacity thoroughfare, but also we wanted to make sure that this allowed for future development south of FM 78. If anybody has looked at a map recently north of 78, you can see that the area of land there that's available to develop gets smaller and smaller every year. Whereas south of 78 is essentially a blank canvas where that piece of art is waiting to be painted. What we're looking at here is really the first stroke in that future picture of Cibolo and really the area. And what we're trying to do here is build that skeleton that future development is going to occur along. And we're trying to do it in a way that, rather than the patchwork development that we saw happen north of FM 78 over the decades, we see a very coordinated and well thought out, very planned development south of 78 as we move into the future 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. This lays the foundation for that. So I think I've covered the first 2 points fairly well. I think one thing that you'll be very interested in knowing is that SEU-CIC vehicles will not be charged to use the Cibolo Parkway. So that framework that we're building, that infrastructure, is going to essentially provide you a way in the future to make sure that you can continue to provide services effectively south of FM78. Now again, the Parkway route has not been established. What you see there on the map is preliminary. And where we're at this point in the project, we signed a development agreement at the end of February. And so we're moving into phase 1 of this project. Now what that means is that the Cibolo Turnpike is in the process of putting together a pro forma model. So they're essentially doing economic studies. They're doing the preliminary engineering. They're doing everything that they have to do to go back to investors and say, this is what this project is. This is what it will cost. This is how, if you invest your money, you will get that money back. Again, let me say, this is 100% privately funded. There is no tax money involved in this. So there's no city, no local, no state, no federal taxes. 100% privately funded. So they have to be able to go back and show their investors that if you invest in this project, you're going to make your money back with a suitable rate of return. If that doesn't happen, the project dies and we move on down the road. So what this pro forma model is looking at in particular is environmental aspects of this, design aspects, cost, and most important, traffic and revenue. Traffic is ultimately going to be the key to this whole thing. And so they're not just looking at what is the traffic going to be like at Cibolo. They're really going to have to take a far more regional view. What kind of traffic is on I-35? What kind of traffic is on I-10? What kind of traffic is in Schertz? Obviously Cibolo. What's going on in Marion? What's going on everywhere that could affect the entire transportation network of this region? Because ultimately this becomes a regional transportation project. So once we get through phase 1, and incidentally, phase 1 we expect will take approximately 10 to 12 months to complete. When we get to the end of phase 1, if this still looks good, then we move into phase 2. So what phase 2 is, this is where we start really getting into the nuts and bolts of the project. This is where you really start getting into the detail and you really start to talk about exactly where are these overpasses going to get on and going to get off. How much concrete is it going to take to construct the pavement? How much are we going to have to spend in terms of electrical cable to run street lights that run along this, so forth and so on. This is where they're getting down into, they're really drilling down into the details. This is where you're going to get your final engineering designs. And this is where they really get to the point that you're going to kick this project off at the end of phase 2. So at the end of phase 2, they're going to begin construction. And we anticipate that that will happen sometime in 2018. The agreement is written in such a way that if they are not able to raise the money and begin construction by the end of December of 2018, unless they have a very defensible reason why they need more time, this agreement will end if they can't get to the point where they're ready to start building the road. Again, that would be at the end of December of 2018. One other key aspect that has come up since we signed the development agreement is the more that we dig into this with the phase 1 part of the project and the feasibility study, we see more and more that having a flyover pedestrian walkway at FM 1103 there at Cibolo Valley Ranch, crossing over to Steele High School, would be a very desirable feature for this, because regardless of whether this project happens or not, you're going to have more and more traffic coming around that bend, traveling down towards Main Street, towards 78 along the existing alignment. Being able to get students from that Cibolo Valley Ranch subdivision over to Steele High School without actually making an at-grade crossing, really it makes sense. It's going to be safer. It's, the more traffic you have there, the more likely you are to have an accident there. So this, if we can fund this as a part of this project, Cibolo Turnpike has been very agreeable to that. It's part of an ongoing discussion that we're having with them about a number of amenities up and down FM 1103 to really make this not just building a road, but really address the entirety of the FM 1103 corridor and make it something that is attractive and is usable, gets everybody where they need to go, and it gives us the opportunity to really develop that corridor in a way that really makes, well, to go back to our motto, make us the city of choice. So in a nutshell, that is the Cibolo Parkway project. Are there any questions?
First, let me just say thanks to Mayor Dunn for coming here tonight, Mr. Herrera, and council members. And I know we always strive to be good governmental partners with the cities that we're a part of, and certainly appreciate you guys following through with that as well. So, yeah, this is an opportunity for us to get an overview of what's taking place, and if trustees have any questions about the project in general, now be a time to ask those. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Let me ask Mayor Dunn. Dr. Gibson, you can help me out. I know, so we own a fairly good sized piece of property down there on Naperville Road, and is it at the corner there of Lower Seguin?
It's close to the proposed that we're looking at here. And the staff keeps us apprised monthly on the logistics of it, so we can kind of watch that compared to our large site now.
Yeah, so is that Lower Seguin Road one of the crossroads to property that we have?
It's Hakerville and Risby, so it's not quite all the way to Lower Seguin.
Okay. So you guys are looking at there's going to be 3, once you get past, or right in that 78 area, then there's going to be 3 places where you can get on and off the toll road. And so I assume that's not final at this point. That's just kind of the projections of what they're looking at doing.
Right. There's always been discussion about possibly another overpass or interchange at Risby. These are the 3 that we identified as being critical. So, again, yes, you're exactly right. This is a concept still, so there's still a lot of details to be determined.
And I would think that once the roadway is built through there, it'd be really tough to go in and add crossroads, I would think. I mean, from a cost standpoint, everything
that
else.
is actually that's a part of our planning process that's ongoing. This is really a foundational piece, but it's not the only piece. So as we move into the future, our plan is to continue to expand the transportation network that we have down there. That would include expanding this particular piece of infrastructure, but also if you go back and look at our future thoroughfare plan, for example, the improvements that we're making to Hakerville Road. That's just one small part of what we expect Hakerville Road to become in the future, for example. We're also looking at other corridors and thoroughfares that would come through there as development occurs down through that, basically through that entire strip that goes from 78 down to I-10. Essentially what you're looking at there now is the transportation network that the county built before Cibolo even came close to getting down to I-10. And clearly that transportation network is not going to be sufficient as the city continues to grow south. So along with that growth, we have to improve the transportation network. That's at this point, I think that's a given.
I should know this, but does the school district boundary roughly relate to this green area that we see here?
No.
So would we expand further to the right?
No, we do for a ways, but then it actually comes back inside the old blue line.
Okay. So largely that blue line, to some extent, is the eastern boundary of our school district?
Yeah. Well, no, it makes it really weird. We'll go in the hallway during the break. I'll show you a really weird pool. It just makes a weird design down there. Who said that? Were you on the board? No.
I wasn't here back in 1800s, so whenever. 1950 or something.
In terms of talking about where your property is as compared to where this road is going to be, that heavy black line is just to make it very clear and very readable. We're talking about 150-foot right-of-way.
Right.
So you can slide that quite a ways in either direction to avoid houses, other structures, property that you guys have as part of your fixed plan. So again, I wouldn't necessarily make any judgments about where anything is.
This is really just conceptual right at this point, so there's no direct path that you guys have worked out yet.
Exactly.
That is correct. And Bob Herrera, city manager, I'd like to share that I've had conversations with Dr. Gibson and Wayne and others, and what we've implied is that this route is very preliminary, is subject to movement one way or another. In fact, looking at the piece of property that the school district owns, we talked about making sure that whatever we do, we enhance your property, because a part of that may be a bus terminal and region. So you have to have the ability to get your buses on and off and your equipment, as well as any other employees. So we'll work hand in hand with Dr. Gibson on that.
Any further? And Wayne, I guess traffic along 1103, I mean, is this any major bus issues over there now or so?
It's lovely. It's increasing. Traffic is increasing.
Yeah, so, okay.
Since I live right off there, let me
Yeah.
have this anecdote to that question. I would imagine it gets to be a fairly hairy deal sometimes. If you have traffic, you have up and down Lebanon.
Yeah, it's, okay. We know, I mean, people are not stopping moving to that area, so that's not going to
In
happen.
fact, if you don't mind, I was going to share with Dr. Gibson, we were looking at your demographics that you have on your webpage, and we did some additional work ourselves. We still have approximately 3,300 unplatted homes. I say platted, are platted, but haven't been built. And they're all going to have access to FM 1103 within the next 5 years.
Yeah. Okay, well, gentlemen, council members, appreciate you guys being here. And this is a great opportunity for the board to get a chance to visit with you, meet with you, and I certainly have faith that the city manager and superintendent will, you guys will stay in touch, and just as long as this project moves forward, make sure that we do keep in the loop on what's taking place. Okay, thank you.
I got one quick question.
I'm sorry.
The only new news here for me was the potential of the walkway at Rodeo Way. Okay, forgive me, but is that the road that's right across from the entrance to Steel?
That's correct.
Okay, so you guys are considering, okay?
Yeah.
Is possible proposals of a walkway for the students to, to avoid the light?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so if I can elaborate on a comment you made that this is a new thing. This is something that is a question that comes up when folks read our development agreement. It's like, wow, there's really not a whole lot of detail here. There's a lot of detail with regard to the relationship between Cibolo and Cibolo Turnpike, because that relationship is going to govern how we solidify the scope of this project as we move forward into the future. This being a $125 million project, and I'm probably preaching to the choir here with the amount of money you guys spend on infrastructure yourselves. With a construction project like this, you start off with a pretty solid idea of what you want to do. And then as you start putting the pieces together and you start becoming more and more detailed in that scope, you're adding some things, you're taking some things away, you're maybe changing some things that you thought you wanted one way and now you need it to be a little bit different. And this is absolutely no different. So the basic premise of this idea is set, but the nuts and bolts of exactly how that's going to happen and the alignment of this road is a perfect example. The fact that the alignment is not solidified yet, that's because until we get to the point where it makes sense to start spending money on finalizing that alignment, it's kind of like you're putting the cart way before the horse is really the best way to put that. So with the detail like this, with the flyover walkway, I would imagine that there will be more details like that we, as we move forward through this project, that we find attractive that add value to the project. I would imagine you'll see more things like that spring up, because again, this isn't just about building a road. It's really about turning that FM 1103 corridor into something that's going to serve the city of Cibolo well for decades to come.
Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you, Chad. Unless there's an objection, anyone okay with taking a break at this point?
We have 4 report items and 13 discussion items.
Okay. Let's I'm gonna say let's take a quick 5-minute break. Let's be back in our seats at 7:40. That's actually 9 minutes. Okay. So we're gonna take a break here at 7:40. home to take care of themselves. All right, we're going to press on. And the next item on the agenda is report on 2014-2018 strategic plan. Review of priorities 2 and 3. I'll hand it over to Dr. Gibbs.
Thank you, President Inman. We do have 4 report items and 13 discussion items, and then the consent, the action items are all under consent. And we have a short executive session, or a typical executive session plan. So saying all that, if we spend 3 or 4 minutes on each item, we're an hour and a half away from being through the discussion items. So to that end, we're going to be as succinct as possible, make sure the board has the information they need, but at the same time, just understand that we've got to be sensitive to the amount of time that you can stay coherent, and we can too. We will have a change in protocol tonight. You may notice in most of the discussion items that now there's a first name that's someone other than Matt Rivera, and in most cases, and then Matt Rivera's name is second. Of course, Mr. Rivera is available for questions, but in this lengthy item, we're going to let different people take the lead on items, and Mr. Rivera, of course, is here and available for questions and or comments. So back to report item number 2. And we're going to gain some ground here, and hopefully on the next 2 or 3 things, we're going to gain some ground. So I just distributed at your place some raw data, so we don't really have a PowerPoint to show, but we wanted to, actually we have a change in protocol, and then we have some raw data that we wanted to share. So Ms. Maloney provided for us in the School First, which is the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, our goal 3.1. The protocol is about to change, and so all we're going to do tonight is just show you the differences. So Ms. Maloney included a front and back on, and I'm going to just drill it to the point. So prior to 2016, if you notice, the superior rating was 70 through 100, B or above average was 50 to 69, et cetera, et cetera. Under that plan, nearly 94% of the school districts in the state of Texas were receiving superior achievement. So if you look at the next page and highlighted in yellow, for 16, 17, and years beyond that, just look at superior achievement. That's really the bottom line. It will change 90 to 100. We have run preliminary data, and maybe there's something we're not looking at. I don't want to come out overconfident, but we believe that we will still hit superior achievement. But a lot of school districts are about to not hit superior achievement that are used to hitting. And so I just wanted to, you may hear we being a gnashing of teeth statewide, we believe that we're going to hit superior achievement, but I want to compare you that if we didn't, that's the whole purpose of the system was to recalibrate it and set a much higher standard.
Do you know how many years in a row we've been superior?
They've been collecting first data since 2006.
So we have been since
11, 12 years.
Yeah.
So we have a 12-year streak on the line. Ms. Maloney.
Hey, shooting, it's a moving target.
Yeah.
Now we're going actually to the service center tomorrow to run our numbers so that all indicators look as if we will.
We have all the confidence in the world that you will continue on with these fine jobs, just skinny did. That's why you're in that position.
But I'm going to be remiss of me to say this is not anything she's done. This is the data from last year. That's correct.
Right.
So if we don't hit it, that's not correct.
So when you're the one making the presentation,
Okay. We've been telling her that.
You will take the credit when we have those good numbers, right?
A healthy fund balance is really what helps this because they're looking at financial solvency.
The second component of this related to our priority 3 related to stakeholder satisfaction. Tonight we have some raw data that we just received, so we don't have this pushed into PowerPoints and anything else, but we want to just put it in your hand tonight. So as you're probably aware, we talked last year that the TASB engaged went out of business right when we were just getting ramped up and had 3-year trend data. They decided to stop doing that. That's fine. We picked up with Studer Education to outsource this for us. So far, we've been very pleased and impressed with the way that they run their analytics and the way they run their data. This is not meant to be a comprehensive report tonight, but to put this in your hand and let you mull it over. We will have this compressed into our strategic plan report this summer. We're going to talk here in a little bit when we talk about budget. Well, and actually, I can probably kill the next. Well, no, I'll wait. We're going to need some time this summer when we talk legislative stuff here, but we're gonna need some time this summer.
So, we're gonna go through this in more detail, it's just to get it in the hands of the trustees.
Yeah, I wanted you to have it in your hand, we got it last week, that is correct.
Everyone okay with that?
And we send it out to the board update, I just want to make sure you have it in your hands, we'll give you more detailed results this summer.
Is that it for everyone, Jim?
Yes.
Any questions, comments? All right. If not, next item on the agenda is report, May 2017 construction update. Mr. Bruschke.
The same as pretty much last month, we're still trying to get out of the ground at Rose Garden, and we are pouring slab and piers. I have a lot of slides of those, but pretty much looks the same. There's dirt and concrete, but we have started pouring the foundational slabs on the east side of the building, moving towards the west, towards 1518. So another concrete pour is scheduled for 2 a.m. on the 25th, I believe. We just did one last Friday, and we're moving forward on that project. It's going fine. Bartlett Cock will be placing their job trailer probably here at Clemens in the parking lot Friday, and moving forward onto that to get started in the back for the new CTE building in the upcoming week or so. So that is becoming closer and closer to reality. And then once school is out, goes full bore underneath the slab with the underground utilities. So HVAC is primed and ready to start as well when school is out at the Watts, Wilder, and Jordan. So the contractor's ready to go there. So we have 2 contractors on standby for school to be over, and one is moving forward positively.
Okay, very good. Our next item is report debrief of the Tutor monthly webinar.
Thank you. This last month, Mr. Inman, I just had a chance to look at this, and we still left it in draft format because it's open to board discussion, of course. But as a part of our work with Studer on the different analytics that they run for us, we qualify for monthly webinars, and I've been intending to do them for like 8 months in a row and had conflicts 7 out of 8 times. And now I'm regretting that because the very first one I participated in was really, really good. I thought as much as we do work on good governance, when they said the topic was governance, that, okay, let's see what these chumps think they know, that kind of thing. But it turned out that there were 4 takeaways that I went over with Mr. Inman that we're just presenting to you all. Don't necessarily need to reach a decision tonight, but we wanted to just present these as concepts to maybe further enhance our governance model. So the first one is to round with board members quarterly, which they're really zeroed in on that term rounding. In this case, it's not you round with me at another location, it's me rounding with you, sitting down one-on-one with each of you. So that means one-on-one members with each board member, ask what they hear, how we're doing, opportunities for improvement, things like that. The second one is to create a keywords at key times, and Mr. Inman and I talked about it. We really do this, it may just be that we need to formalize it. But if he or you all are having any questions about something that's in the public, Mr. Inman's really good at saying, hey, can you send something out in the board update, or can we get Dee Dee or Priscilla to send something out, to just give the facts. This would be, they were recommending just to formalize that process, that they think that's the best practice nationwide. And I guess the point is that some districts, say, oh, that's micromanaging. Well, okay, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's just communication. And that's the point is, this is whether we like it or not, perception becomes our reality, right? And so if the perception is out there, this is letting the board get information to them. So I'm putting that second one out there. Then the third item is that each month at the end of the board meeting, and we do a lot of this, and I appreciate how much we say, what are you working on, or what events did you go to, but we may also add, when we look at the calendar at the end of the meeting, to what training do you believe you need, what topics are still unclear to you, and then we can build that into future workshops, perhaps, and/or set aside separate training. And then number 4 is another concept that each Friday prior to board meeting on Tuesday, Ms. Maloney will run through the board financials with the executive leadership team. We're going to do that anyway. We're going to start doing that anyway. So that packet, that portion of the packet that's in the board meeting, and then we'll let trustees either participate, less than a forum, of course, we'll let trustees participate, either conference call in, you just hear a conference call in, or, you come up here and visit, and if more than 4 want to do it, then we'll just turn around and we'll replicate it, do twice. That's right. We'll just turn around and do it again a second time. So those are just 4 concepts that came out of it. Again, tonight's not making a decision. I just want to put that draft in your hand and let the board kick it around and just let Mr. Emmett know if anything sounds good to you. We're more than happy to do any or all of these to just further strengthen our good governance team.
Any questions or comments on that? Yeah, I'll just add, I've dealt with a lot of other districts, and there's always that fine balance between board, being responsible for its governance of the district and knowing what's happening and taking place and feeding information to the superintendent, and then contrasting that with trustees who spend 5 or 6 hours a week visiting the superintendent, visiting with campuses, trying to just be too much, all the time. So I think as a practice, I think we've done fairly well. I can see how we need to make sure we have, processes in place so that we do get the information that's required to be a good trustee and a good board, but also make sure that we're allowing the administrative team to get its job done, not hampering you guys way too much either. So.
Yeah, I failed to mention, thank you for those comments. I failed to mention that they shared 10 best practices. The other 6 I really felt like we were doing, just for what it was worth. It was almost exactly the way we built different protocols. That felt really good to see the 6 of them.
Any thoughts or questions on that? Okay, thanks. Next item is a report on the an update on the 85th Texas Legislative Session. Dr. Hughes.
Yeah, so we went to Austin this morning, and Patrick, who was recognized earlier, was part of the group that went, and and then I just see that the Trib Texas Tribune just came out a few hours ago, 3 hours ago. The first time we've seen this in print. You always hear murmurs of special session, but we definitely heard that today. We heard it multiple times from multiple representatives just saying we're canceling our family vacations in June and July. And there's 2 sticking points. Last Friday afternoon, it's called the Mother's Day Massacre now. Already it's been named. But we did hear that the Mother's Day Massacre, 130-something bills got killed on the consent agenda and actually died. And there were some, and whereas sometimes that's a good thing, to get a bunch of bills killed, it's not a bad thing. There were some pretty significant things in there, like the sunset review of the Department of Transportation, which means by law, if that doesn't occur, they get shut down next September. So all that talk that we had earlier about, that's the worst case scenario. We've never had in this state officials to allow for the government to shut down like we've seen, in the last decade in Washington, D.C. We've never seen that. We've always seen threats right up to it. This is the first time there's a little bit of a saber rattling going on. And it's actually, and I don't know if y'all know, but we have 3 parties in Austin. And we have the far right, which call themselves the Freedom Caucus, and then we have the middle right, which call themselves Republicans, and then we have everyone else, which is not too many, which are Democrats. And those 3 parties, I would say the Republicans and Democrats work better together than the 2 factions of the Republican Party. And that maneuver last Friday was those 2 factions working against each other. It kind of imploded all the bills for that night. And I'm not trying to say it's good or bad, I'm just saying that's reality. So from that, we get that the budget may be held hostage. That's the one thing by law that they have to do. Like you've got one job. And so, but it's also the one thing they can hold hostage if they don't get all of their priorities passed. And so what we're seeing now is just this conversation shift that there's no way they can get all these nuances hammered out by 2 Fridays from now. And so it's going to take a special session or 2 to get this done. So, and what's the first time we've heard that said. Now that doesn't mean that maybe it can't happen. I'm sure the back channel things are going on as we sit here. They're trying to get all this hammered out. But the trip they just reported 3 hours ago. 2 things are going to have to happen to avoid a special session, so we're hearing that now. So to that point, what I was talking about earlier, Dee just sent me some dates that we had talked in June about doing a budget workshop if they're in special session after Ms. Maloney does her report here in a little bit, we won't necessarily know anything else by June if they're in special session at that time. So what we would like to do, Ms. Raymond, this summer is do a strategic plan report and a budget workshop. Those are the two things in my formative, which the board has set that as a protocol. Mr. Wilson worked to establish that. So let me back up, do three things. My formative, and Dee, what's my formative set?
July 18th.
So July 18th. So one recommendation might be to move my formative to the first week in August, if everybody's okay with that, and then use that July 18th as a set-aside date. Okay, so that, and let's say they're in special session on July the 18th. At that point, it's interesting. We will not hold Ms. Maloney responsible for no budget if no districts in the state of Texas have a budget, or do not have a budget. That will not be on it.
Well, if I recall, the governor is the only person who can decide what actually is covered. In terms
He's the one that can call and for what reason it is called.
Which is usually limited to whatever the governor wants.
Right. Not having a budget, which is by law what they're supposed to do. Seem to think that would be what he would call it for.
All right, any questions, folks? Patrick, I do want to appreciate you and singling out for, it seems like you've been going up to Capitol every other week this spring. Obviously putting a lot of time and effort into that.
Once a month.
Once a month?
Yeah, don't want.
Well, and he asked after he was getting his cookie, and he said, "Are we going in June if they go into special?" That was his question. So, okay, if you want to go in June when they're special, we'll go.
Appreciate that extra effort.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate it very much. All right, next item on the agenda is budget update on the financial forecast for school year 2016-2017 budget.
So let me say right off the bat, none of this matters if I was just talking about it. Okay, so
Sure.
this is the best estimates we have with our assumptions that something will happen.
And this will be very brief, just due to the situation that we're dealing with right now with the legislature. In looking back to the 16-17 budget, or the one that we are currently in right now, we can review, we've reviewed this before, it's our enrollment data and our ADA. I would call your attention to the 4th and 5th 6 weeks. Those are a little lower than we normally achieve, and we have that data. So one thing that we've started to do in the PEIMS department is tracking all aspects of attendance. We're not just tracking weekly attendance, but we're looking at Mondays and Fridays, and we're seeing some things there, and our principals are getting that information every Monday and able to start studying that and seeing if they can develop some plans to help that. This is the 16-17 estimated general operating budget, what we adopted last August, and then what we forecasted that we'll close at August 31st, 2017, whether we have a budget for next year or not. This is where we'll close at the end of August. It does reflect all of the amendments that we have passed, that the Board of Trustees has passed over the course of this year. I think we have one more tonight in food service. So I would call your attention again to the state revenue. The reason that is where it is at this point is because of the property value protest and close to $1 million that we received in monies that we should have received 2 years prior. The reason for the salaries and benefits, the lesser amount, is we did freeze, as soon as we knew about the enrollment, we did freeze all of our fast growth positions. And then, of course, that EPP throws everything off, but for supplies and materials, the reason that's over is because we pulled out a fund balance for the expenditure projection plan. But currently, we are planning, as we discussed the other night, to put back in about 2.2 million, possibly 3, up to 3.
Paige, what assumption did we use on local revenue tax rate on this current year budget?
We are still at 6.
6%.
And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. What we're working on now is trying to get in that 2% raise and raising that local taxes to 7%.
But we, on this budget, we used 6%, and we achieved more like 7.
Yes.
And that's part of that 2.2 in the bottom line corner.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
it's not as conservative as we've done in the past, but if we take it to 7%, that will definitely help.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that budget, I'm still
Oh,
talking
this
about
one,
this budget.
yes.
So part of that 2.2 down there in the
Yes.
bottom right hand is that we achieved
Yes,
more than, because I
absolutely.
want to reference that in just a second.
Absolutely.
I want to say what you just said in a second.
We reviewed this the other evening in the budget workshop or the EPP workshop, and as you can see in the first column, the ending fund balance assigned, we talked a little bit about that. That's something that goes back many, many years ago. That's money sitting there for disasters, catastrophes, whatever you might have. So we do have that there. You can see that the footnote 2 was because we took out the EPP, and then the footnote 1 was the remaining balance for the pool and the Wilder renovation. We did add $2 million for the board policy that says we have to hold 90 days of operating costs. We pushed that to $29 million. And we have a negative amount added to fund balance because we pulled out the EPP. But the difference in that is, would be what we're going to end in unassigned. So Dr. Gibson, did you want to?
Yeah, so the bottom right number is unassigned, meaning that is this calculation eligible for utilization against the EPP, if that's the number that we generally look to, is the bottom right hand number. So that means we've met all the rules and all the criteria, and that's left. But in page, you noted at the bottom that includes the 2.2 in there.
Yes,
so it's
the
not
budget savings.
Right, so it's not 4.9 plus the 2.2. That 2.2 is in that 4.9. Is that right?
That's where it gets kind of confusing, because we are really, I mean, compared to last year, we're not adding anything into fund balance, but we were able, through budget savings, it's not as fast as it would have been by pulling that out.
So that's a good explanation. So that's available in the bottom right corner. And then I know I was on speakerphone the other night, and I appreciate you all doing that meeting with me on speakerphone. What I was also mentioning is that number 1 box up at the top of that, I would argue now that the pool is out of that, and now that the Wilder renovation is out of that up to a certain amount, I don't think you want to take that all the way down to 0, but that was set aside years ago before we started doing all this stuff down below it.
Yes.
And I think if we start talking land, or if we start talking, that we need a little bit more on EPP or something, that there's some of that up there that I would argue should be eligible for that discussion, that the board would have to vote to unassign some of that, like you've done before for the Wilder or whatever.
And by law, I mean, it's in 2 line items based on emergency purposes, both for buildings and for supplies that would be lost or major capital projects.
There's no requirement, I guess,
No.
maybe is one way to even hold that up there, that top number up there. We just have historically. There's no requirement for that.
Any questions on that? Comments? Thanks, Mr. Maloney. Anything further?
Just
We have just
if you want that, you've seen this all
Just
before.
that.
Right now, we're basing everything on the low scenario of 1,504 students. That would be a growth of 358 students from where we were, like 2 weeks ago on Friday. Our numbers start to dwindle down as Allison Steele students are graduating, so it's really not good to use a number currently because it's the end of school. We are basing on an attendance rate of 96%. I do not feel comfortable at this game to up that to 97. Our certified values, we're basing it on 6%, and then those are our ratios for the class sizes. Some things that we've talked about here.
Yes, real quick on the attendance. Is that, I don't know, so that means every day we've got 4% of our kids that do not show up for school?
That's at the end of the year.
At the end of the year, 4%, yes. But, I mean, we track it by the week, and so, we have.
Does that include excused absences?
Yeah.
We don't get paid for an excuse. We are not paid by the state for an absence, whether it's excused or unexcused. Their bottom has to be in a chair.
And, it's really worth looking at. It's something that we have to have on our radar. I mean, if kids, you know, I always used to say, if kids are on the honor roll, they usually get perfect attendance too.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks.
Right, and thank you for that clarification. There's a clarification. That does not mean that we have them out at a swim meet or a dive meet or, you know, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
School function that they're included.
Right, correct. It's a good clarification, Tim.
So those are the teacher positions that were approved in March. We did increase the health insurance contribution $10 per month per employee. The raises are not, we have not put those in the budget, but we're working on that right now to, if we do raise the 7% and look at some other things, we want to be able to bring that to you without help from the legislature. So it's, right now, it's final conversations with departments, with personnel. I'm working with Ms. Cannon. Are we going to use all of those 24 positions? Are we backing off of that? So we're hoping to bring to you, with the current numbers, the 2% raise prior to the legislative.
So can you go back a screen, one more please? So that's what they're just saying right there, not in budget, and go back one screen. So if you take that fourth assumption, certified values, and you change that to 7%, then there, now if you go forward a screen, we can, you know, get close to that 1.7 million.
The problem right now with the legislature, though, anytime that your property values are, and this is a side note, but anytime your property values are going up your state, what's coming in from the state is decreasing.
Right.
So that's kind of a tax burden on our stakeholders.
So what we've done historically is we've put a lower than 7% assumption on that certified value. We've tried to be very conservative. During my 7 years, either 5 or 6%, and then usually we're achieving something like 6 or 7%. But that's where the fund balance comes at the end of the year. You know, where we at the beginning of the year we say it's tight, and it is. It's because we're using conservative assumptions. Then we have a mild winter, hopefully, and we get a little better growth, and at the end of the year, all of a sudden we've got this fund balance. If we did what we're talking about here, I mean, to some people that's going to be like just do it. Well, don't expect there to be the groundwork laid for that bigger number for fund balance at the end of the year.
Right.
We're going to pre-plug that number into the budget.
And, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that unless Peggy was comfortable with that, and she is, so.
And maybe the only way, and I can tell you just in whispered tones up there, for everybody's in the same shape, all over San Antonio, can't get ready, can't get ready, and then you get them, really? Well, we might go too. But, so we're going to be sharing this pain, and okay, all of this is under that HB 21 is dead right now. And that's the assumption that that's dead. We're dealing with the same stuff, and that stuff up there in Austin is dead. It's not going to get worked out.
I guess the only thing, I mean, if you open up your appraisal district values, they're going up. So that's a comfort, not a comfort personally, but a comfort that you could push it to that.
Right. When we would only use that because we've achieved it the last 2 or 3 years.
It's one of those things too, where we did, you know, Ted, I mean, like, you know, PR battle on this. I mean, I hear it all the time. People are screaming bloody murder that their appraisals are going through the roof and all that extra money going to the school district because that's what they see. They have no earthly clue how the school finance system works. That somehow we're the bad guys because now we're getting all these millions of dollars extra and, you know, what do we do with it? And I hear that all the time.
Yeah, if HB 21 does not go through and this happens again, then the state percentage of funding will drop to 38% over this next biennium, which is the historical low in the history of the state. To your point. But there won't be a press release made by legislators on that topic, guaranteed.
And that's just kind of our projection by campus. We included that in there. There's the new positions, and recurring costs would be the $10 per month for health insurance and the $1.25 per month for all employees to the life insurance from $10,000 to $25,000. And then another thing that's circulating out there, and I'll have to defer to Dr. Gibson for this, is the TRS Care, what we contribute as a school district for current retirees in the state. would increase from 0.55% to 0.75%. And that would be all retirees prior to, people retire now in their 50s, so prior to when they reach 65 and qualify for Medicare, we make that contribution for their health care. And so roughly what we're looking at there, we've done the math, and it's about $200,000.
I've validated that. I told you at TRS today, and they said they felt like that would be smart to go ahead and plug that into the budget.
Does that mean any questions? Any questions? We're good? All right, thanks, Mr. Maloney.
The budget workshop is either in June or July, well, depending on what happens in Austin. And then that's when we'll start narrowing the set down.
Aren't you up for the next item as well?
CDC local.
There we go.
I was thinking
No, just, next item on the agenda, discussion, local policy update affecting the local policy CDC, dealing with other revenues. Mr. Maloney?
Yes, CDC, when an update, or update 107?
107, yeah.
In update 107, there were some major changes to CDC local, legal and local, not only the content but the title of the whole thing. And we were a little bit concerned moving forward with what they said as crowdfunding and online fundraising. And so we wanted to get a little more clarification from our policy analyst, and she's provided some samples for us, and then also how you would develop an admin regulation if you were going to include that in your local policy. We were not comfortable with that at first, but after some discussion and being able to, if we put that out there, we think that probably what's happening, people are already doing this online stuff, and as we move more to that, I mean, we're getting ready to go to online pay for all of our activities. We think it would be best to put it in there with an admin reg that would say you have to get permission from the administrators.
Any questions on that? Amy?
That's like the donor.org, that,
Yes.
all those, yes, because I heard, no, we can't do it for teachers, I heard, yes, you can, so I think
Yes.
there probably needs to be some, yeah.
And I do think it's a generational thing. I mean, at first, all of us were like, oh my gosh, no, we're not going to do that. But then when you realize, we're going to have to move forward with the digital age and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I walked into a hotel the other day and paid with a check, and I thought the young lady was going to swallow her tongue. It was just unbelievable. So, I mean, she shamed me, but okay, I put it up and I got my Merry Christmas.
Any questions? All right, next question. Next item is discussion, consideration of broadcasting regular school board meetings over the internet. Long story short on this one, there's some items of interest the other day from the Civil City Council, and I discovered that they were actually, I don't know what it's technically called, but you could watch their council meetings live stream, and wherever you happen to be. And I just thought that was kind of neat that they did that. It's legally not required. I think we're legally required to tape it and then show it a day or two later or something like that, or at least have it available to the public. But I don't know what the extra cost would be, if anything, or the inconvenience or hassle or whatnot. But so
I think, or you all said we have the existing equipment, is that right?
We have the equipment. The only cost that we can see at this time is that we would buy an additional SD card, just in case the one we were recording on at the time died.
Okay.
Or streaming through at the time died.
They mentioned they use some group called Granicus or something like that.
I'm sorry?
Granicus is what they, I don't know, that's the program that they use, I guess. But
I haven't heard of that one.
I know nothing about this. But I think, so I guess from a technological standpoint, it's not overly complicated to live stream. And then I don't know if legally or whatnot we need to change policies or anything along those lines. Because once we start this, and we're going to pretty much be obligated, I would think, to continue doing it. We're letting the public know that that's what we're doing, and I'd hate to have a situation where it doesn't work, or for some reason we're not doing it appropriately or whatnot.
We'll check with our policy analysts, though, and just ask if they have recommended policy for districts that are doing it. I didn't think about that, so we'll see what she said.
And when we do workshops too,
I think we're just talking the regular.
just
board
for,
meeting.
so I was just wondering, to clarify that too.
So, I just threw this out there just for conversation. Again, it's not something we have to do, but I just thought, being good governmental citizen, so to speak, and typically the more open you are with the public, the more accountable you become, and the less opportunity you have for doing things you shouldn't be doing and whatnot. I mean, if the public knows what we're doing and then we know that they have the opportunity to watch us live, and hopefully then, I doubt you're going to have thousands of citizens sitting home watching us. You never know. Yeah, you know, there's a value to that. So, anyone have any questions or thoughts or pros and cons or whatnot? Any objection to kind of moving forward with this and just seeing what we can do?
When will it start? Or when will we have the capability to start?
We have the capability to start now.
Next meeting, get ready.
Smile, we started earlier.
Smoke goes without dressing that shit. Or whatnot, but, yeah, let's just, so I guess, Dr. Gibson, if y'all want to move forward with it, and then just kind of keep us posted as to the specifics of what's taking place, and we'll go from there. I don't know if that means they need to put a camera up there in the front or.
We'll have that conversation about the broad angles. We'll probably
Yeah.
either look at a few other.
Well, I mean, that would depend on, do you want multiple cameras? That gets a little more complicated.
Yeah.
If we just use the one camera, it's pretty easy to do.
So what's your vision?
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking at least, you know, of the board and then of whoever's doing the speaking out here. I mean, I would assume we need at least those two. We have an administrator giving a presentation. I would hate for it just to be some kind of background noise. This is my thinking.
Then we'll need to test that and
Okay.
just kind of play around with that and see what it's going to look like. How it's gonna work.
What if we should push off for August?
That's a great idea.
Would that be good? Give us a couple of months to test everything out.
Yeah, I mean, no hurry on this. I mean, it's just one of those things that's an idea. So if y'all can do it and do it in a timely manner, great. Okay. All right, thanks. Next item, consideration for local business recognition and the TASB Business Recognition Program. And that was Mr. Westbrook's idea. Here you go.
Give me my glasses. I guess this all started approximately, I went to a TASB meeting, TASB Board of Directors meeting, and they were trying to get more school districts to sort of recommend local businesses for recognition. It's totally free. And I'll read from the background information. In fall 2014, TASB launched a business engagement initiative. We want to honor the business, community groups, and support public schools, share information about outstanding school business collaborations, and encourage more businesses to become actively involved in helping students, teachers, and schools. Businesses Standing Up for Public Schools is an annual recognition program established by TASB to celebrate the important support provided in local communities. They express appreciation. It was free. My computer went down. Express appreciation to those who stand up for schools and encourage more businesses to participate in this sort of community service. District representatives may submit names of businesses or organizations throughout the year. Recognitions for the 2016-2017 school year should be submitted by June 30, 2017. For example, we might want to recognize H-E-B. Businesses such as H-E-B, especially anybody who's probably helped out some of the PTCs or anything like that. I just think it's a great idea. It's free, it's no cost to us. We submit the names to TASB, they provide us all the documentation. Documentation then goes to, I believe, Ed Suarez, presents it for the board, and then we sort of deliver it to the school board. And sort of, we recognize them sort of the same way we recognize the students.
So if you want to, so it looks like the deadline is June 30th. Is that correct? Yes. So do you want to, any trustees have any businesses that they'd like to nominate or endorse or whatnot, to just get those names to you and then you submit the paperwork? Is that okay?
Yes, sir, that's fine. Yes.
Well, you can work with Priscilla, it doesn't require board action, right? So it is just a matter of collecting names, so not just an all call for names that the board would like.
We can get out the information, the form, what's required on the form and submit it to TASB. And then if board members have businesses that they would like to put in the system, then we'll go ahead and do that for you.
So send them to Westbrook and Priscilla. Is that right? Carbon copy here?
Yes.
That was the best way. Sure.
Like as a starting point, I'll try to, as a starting point, I think I'll try to do the those businesses that have advertised in the athletic program for the football program. You know, that's sort of a starting point.
And I know we have local restaurants that host fundraisers for PTCs and things like that. You know. So
Yes.
All right, trustees, so just, if there's any business that comes to mind, we can get together with Mr. Westbrook or Dee Dee, and feel free to submit those. Okay?
And Mr. Inman,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
they do not get in by the end of June, they can be submitted any time during the year, which is be for this 17-18.
So that's true.
Right.
Sound good? All right, thanks. All right, next item is TASB 2016-18 Advocacy Agenda Resolution. Currently, I'm doing this one. Yeah. All right, you guys go to page 36. Just background. During the grassroots meetings, on off legislative years, I guess I'd call it, TASB puts together a kind of a legislative wish list of here's all the things that public school districts want across the state. That goes through a huge process and then it gets formalized. At this point, they also allow school boards to, on your own, just create a resolution for something that may be unique to our district. It may not be as much on a statewide level, but something we would need. And they start soliciting resolutions that will then get discussed during the TASB summer meeting. Robert, you understand how this process works, right? You want to say anything about it? No.
Not as good as you do.
Okay. That's a long story short how it works. So this is just an item. If there's anything on anybody's mind that's, again, this is more local in nature, but we don't have to do this. I mean, it's one of those things where some districts submit a lot of these, most districts don't. But if there's anything that we have over the next month or so that we think we should submit, this would be something we could do at the next board meeting. Okay? Anybody? All right. Next item is solicitation for professional leader development training. Dr. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Gibson, members of the board. What we'd like to bring forward tonight is the item for discussion only, basically solicitation of professional development training. This aligns with our professional learning communities model and our beliefs. We feel like the professional learning community is the core of what we're doing as a district now, not only teaching and learning, but also with building upon priorities 2 and 3 of teacher collaboration, communication, as well as effective efficient operations. So we're seeking to contract with a vendor that will continue to provide us those opportunities for professional development, resources, feedback, and coaching that align, like I said, with one of our core beliefs of the professional development community. So we bring that to you as a discussion item tonight.
Dr. Rivers, do you anticipate it being ready next month as a discussion item?
I'm going to look at Matt on that one.
Yes, sir. If we get the proposals back and review it, we could bring it back in June. Okay. It'd be July the latest. June is our target.
June started July.
And Dr. Gibson?
Pop it up. All right, we're good. I just thought I'd bring that up. All right, next item. Okay. You know Dr. Edwards on that last one?
Yes, sir. You are.
Any questions on that?
It will be back in June, sir.
All right. Next item, discussion of solicitation for special education, instructional, and related services.
Sir.
Williams.
President Inman, Dr. Gibson, and members of the board, as part of providing a free appropriate public education for students with disabilities, their instruction may be supplemented with related services such as speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or nursing services. When district staff is available, we prefer to use those resources, but if those staff members are not available, then we have historically contracted for those services. The purpose of this solicitation is to establish a single requirement contract with multiple service providers on an as-required basis for a single base year with up to 4 option years. This is a discussion item only at this time and anticipate to bring this back to the board for approval in June or July.
Any questions or comments on this one? Okay. All right, thanks, Mr. Williams. Next item up for discussion is revision of sewer facilities agreement, the Corbett Lift Station. Minister Pruski, Administrator of the Year.
The sewer station.
This is what the Administrator of the Year gets around here. So congratulations.
This is going to be a brief Reader's Digest version, unless we want to go into details with this. But the bottom line up front is the sewer lift station agreement is on agreement number 3. And the city and another developer that is involved in this has approached us and wanting to go through negotiations for agreement number 4. This is in the Corbett Junior High, the new Corbett Junior High area. As you, now going backwards real quick, when we built Corbett, we installed a lift station with some concessions or some points with a developer and the city of Schertz. The district paid for the lift station, utilized some land of a developer for the trunk lines and to easements, and the city then took over the lift station. Consequently, then during the last couple of years, there's been some renegotiations regarding this lift station and assignment of use for development areas, and this is now another page in that legacy, so to speak.
Any questions on this?
That was well done. You traded sewer, you transitioned sewer into legacy. Very nice. That's impressive.
So that agreement would come up next month for approval?
That is possibly an option. We could go down as far as August. This could take a while.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Next item, discussion interlocal agreement with the city of Schertz for EMS contract services. Mr. Rivera.
Yes, sir. We've had many services provided by the city of Schertz over the years, and we realize that a lot of the services provided have not had a written agreement, and we just wanted to formalize our services with them and payments to them with an agreement. So we've been working with their staff. This is just for discussion. As you can see, the city of Schertz EMS has done quite a few things, as you see on their page. Fee schedules, everything from AEDs, first aid training, to vaccinations for some of our teachers when they need them for hepatitis C shot. And they also do some things for demonstrations for some of our campuses that we've seen over the years. This is just a discussion item, and we should have an action item back to you in June.
So basically, this is more or less formalizing what's already been taking place, and there's nothing new.
It has been happening, but whenever we receive services from another governmental entity, we should have an interlocal agreement in place.
I assume it's been reviewed by
Our legal counsel has reviewed it. It's with them right now.
So this will come back for approval at the next month's board meeting?
It's in their hands right now. They think that they'll have it done.
So, anything on this?
So they would, Schertz EMS would be short at our campus?
Well, they've been doing that now on an as-call basis, and like an ambulance standby service, for example, they'll be there, but they're paid for, compensated for their time. We just like to formalize that to who's not an employee, who's paying insurance, et cetera, like that. So no question in case something happens.
Okay, yeah, it's formalizing it. It just brought to mind, I know when I was a paramedic, we'll discuss how good of a paramedic I was, but anyway, I know sometimes you can't transfer, you have to transfer to a higher level of care. And since we already have RNs on campus, theoretically they're transferred to a level of care a little bit lower than as a paramedic. I don't know how that works or if there's exceptions for the school district or not.
Typically, those games are Friday night.
He's talking about the football games.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm talking about the games.
Not if they show up at school.
Yes. Okay, all right. No worries. Thank you very much.
Hey, but the question I do have, follow on that one, do we have the same contract with the police that work football games as well? Because if I guess if we're contracting Schertz EMS to provide the EMS services for the football games, are we required to have the same contract for the police that work the football games?
All right, so are the police, are they working as employees of the city of Schertz?
They're working for the...
Right. So that's an individual
Contract.
consulting agreement with the individual, or not another governing body.
Everybody okay with that? All right. Okay. All right, next item is discussion of district website design and support solicitation. Dr. Burkholder.
Thank you, President Inman, Dr. Gibson, members of the board. Our website was designed and implemented 9 years ago, and the company that hosts it was bought out, and the platform has been declared end of life with support ending on December 31st of this year. And our website is one of the first places that people go to learn about the district, to find information, to decide if Schertz is a place they want to move to. In the 9 years since it was designed, our district has grown and changed significantly. So the purpose of this solicitation is to evaluate website design and support options that are available to us to be able to put our best face forward to meet both the district and community needs.
It's a big deal. So, anyone have any questions on that? Do they more or less start from scratch, or just, you know?
We need to look at that. There's a possibility to just migrate. There will be some redesign. But it'll just be a matter of, you know, what's the best use of our funds and what's going to work best for the district.
I assume what we're doing here is the design of it and the ongoing upkeep and I guess maintenance, I don't know if that's the right word, but just continuous use.
Right,
of
there's
the
an
website.
annual fee for the actual content management system where it's housed.
Yeah.
And design is additional.
Any question on this?
How much does it cost us now?
We currently pay about $15,000 a year, but that's just the annual maintenance. And I believe it was about $40,000 9 years ago for the design and the initial implementation, getting the templates and all that. So we really don't know what it's going to be 9 years later, but we can estimate that's, you know, $60,000 or so.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Next item on the agenda is discussion and solicitation for exclusive athletic apparel. Scott Lenoff.
Thank you, President Inman, Dr. Gibson, members of the board. I'd like to present the possible solicitation of an exclusive rights agreement in which a sports apparel provider would offer the school district product rebates on uniforms and equipment for 5 years in exchange for high school varsity athletes wearing the products during competitions. Uniform branding has reached a new level for student athletes at the collegiate level, with universities aligning themselves with a single brand. This trend has trickled down to the high school level and is a unique opportunity for SCUC. As a district, we would also solicit deeper discounts off suggested retail prices on their line of products, buy one, get one uniforms, individual team stores, and rebates on facility signage. Uniforms and equipment are typically supported through the district's general fund. It's anticipated that a resulting agreement would free up those resources for other district needs. It is anticipated this agreement would cover all varsity sports with the possibility to expand to other district campus programs. This is currently up for discussion at this time. We plan to meet with vendors in June and possibly present somebody in July.
I assume this is a big topic, right? I mean, this is kind of
It'll be public and it'll be
So is this, you know, assuming if we did something like this, is this district-wide, or does each, you know, kind of, you know, Clemens and its group, or Steele and its group just to,
we would
each make a selection, or is it district-wide?
We would probably push for a district-wide, one brand, everybody under the same logo.
So you're gonna have the big Adidas, Nike, whatever.
Those would be Under Armour would be the third.
So they're looking to give us, I assume, significant discounts in order for us to wear their apparel.
With the high profile, some of the teams we've had that are state, nationally recognized, and they solicited us the last 4 to 6 years, right? And with us growing, I think we're pretty attractive.
And does this, the goal to some extent then is to reduce the overall cost that we expend out of pocket on these items?
Yeah, through buy one, get one uniforms in some cases, through rebates back on some of those uniforms, through team stores that allow parents and kids to go on and get an Adidas shoe that we can't provide at a 40% discount, and that's a big deal for our programs.
Is there just cost savings, or is there generating revenue also?
There could be some generated revenue as far as money that is rebated back, percentages back to the actual program themselves. They could, again, spend with that company on whether, in some cases, hard goods, depending on the vendor, or other items.
And then do we possibly then provide other marketing opportunities, you know, whether it's signs in stadiums or something like that, or is that part of this, or is that a whole?
Some of the vendors have, and I think Nike's kind of led the way on that, and Under Armour as well, of teaming up with sign companies to help you out. I estimate at Steele High School we're probably spending $2,000 to $3,000 a year on signage around the facilities at times, and that's something you can get some help with.
Just a quick question. In the other district, is there any other districts that have gone to like an agreement like this before?
Yes, sir. It's I can think it started in Dallas, like a lot of things athletically do, and then kind of trickled down. Judson has signed a deal with Under Armour and Nike for their 2 schools. Northeast just did an Under Armour package with BSN. Alamo Heights did an Adidas deal with Cardinal Sports, and I know Northside is looking at it. Comal is looking at it. I don't think they've sealed the deal on anything.
Thanks.
So I'm noticing Mr. Inman has a Nike swoosh on his glasses right here. So
Did I get it for free or for any discount?
whatever it is. You really do.
I do Nike.
We got a question for Matt.
Yes, sir.
You know, Matt, some of these things that Mr. Lenoff was talking about, like rebates and stuff like that, what kind of mechanism do we have in place for the accounting department to realize, okay, we're getting a rebate of $5,000 or something. You know, it has to flow through, you know, it can't stay at the school.
Right.
It's got to come to the district, it's got to come to those funds. And, you know, and these agreements, you know, I work for Coca-Cola, I understand what marketing agreements are, okay? And I know what exclusive marketing agreements do. But how that money flows, I've seen it not be handled correctly. You know, so do we have a policy in place?
Our policy is a financial policy, actually. When we receive any cash rebates, as we do right now, every year we receive thousands of dollars of rebates from some of our contracts.
Right.
They all go into the general fund.
Right.
And the district distributes that where it's required. And some of these contracts, coast to coast, from Oregon to Maine, as coaches, or as Scott had mentioned, you can also, instead of a rebate, you can also receive a credit. Many of them will receive $50,000, for example. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but you could receive $50,000 in credits, so you could use that with that vendor in lieu of cash. And you've just extended your budget that much further. Instead of them giving you a check for maybe $15,000, giving you credit for much more, that's a value. But we'll be evaluating all those proposals that we receive. It's a big step for us. We haven't done this before, but we'll see what comes back. I'm sure Scott and his team will be doing a good job of evaluating all those proposals.
I just don't know how you put out a solicitation that comes back to us the way our solicitation process works and says, you know, we may give you a rebate next year on something. You know, I don't understand. I wouldn't understand how that works. You know, I just wouldn't. I want to protect our employees of this district, you know, from collusion or from fraud or theft. I wouldn't want anything like that to happen to someone or potential of that.
And that's probably, I don't want to say why finance drafted the policy the way it is, so that when we do receive rebates, whether it's from the TASB buy board or Office Depot contractor or even our auctioneer, everything goes into our general fund and through finance. So no cash is going into anyone's.
I understand, but sometimes we don't know that it was received.
Right.
So anyway, just as you're going through there, just
Hasn't happened here. Hasn't happened.
right. Well, because we've never done it. We've never had one of these, right?
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Having said that too, I mean, I know with the school finance system and the ongoing state of flux, and you know, with our programs being as successful as they are, more high profile than they probably have ever been, plenty of folks are trying to come up with creative ways of raising funds for public schools, and no harm, no foul. Our athletic programs are doing incredibly well. That they deserve part of that, but it is also increasing funding for the overall school districts. So I'm all for trying to think of creative ways to raise more dollars, and if we've got to go through some hiccups to get there, you know, so be it. But that's one of those things. Hopefully, you guys get to, you know, lock it down on what we need to do. But I wouldn't want us to be to not look at innovative ways of trying to do something just because it's never been done before, it's new to the district or whatever. New way of thinking, let's try to create new ideas to raise some funds.
I remember this sort of came up as, I think, my first or second year, because I think at the time Judson was advertising, or had some advertisements on one of their buses. So where does this ever stop? If HEB came to us, Walmart came to us and says we wanted to have an exclusive marketing agreement with the school district itself and put stuff on our school buses, will we say yes or no? Will we entertain it? I mean, right now it's...
That would not be Scott, that would be a separate guy. That'd be a separate agreement.
It'd be a separate agreement, but we would entertain it?
Well, we entertained it at that time. The board at that time felt like it was cheesy and did not represent the core values of our district, is what I was instructed. We did not want that to happen.
I agree. Just 6 years later, because of our great success on the field and on the court, now we're willing to entertain that idea.
No, this is a different deal here. Specifically about school bus.
It was about school, but I'm just clear. At the end of the day, it's about money. Whether we're saving money or making money. Our football teams have been successful enough that somebody's willing to pay us for them to put a Nike brand or Under Armour on our jerseys.
Yeah, but it's about an exclusive deal with them. Now, if a bus vendor came along and said, we'll give you an exclusive deal to only buy our buses, we would be talking to them. And that would be comparable to what we're talking about tonight.
You know, it's equivalent to what San Marcos did with their scoreboard, is that people basically pay for that scoreboard using advertisement. That's, you know, that's one of those ones, you know, if it comes up, then you know, you look at it at the time, and if the board doesn't agree with it, we don't agree with it, and if the board agrees, we agree, and each one's a separate item. You know, this is for sporting stuff, and, you know, if someone approached me or approached the board and said, hey, we'll give you $600,000 for a new scoreboard if you put our logo in the right-hand corner, yeah, you know, like San Marcos did, I think we'd be silly not to at least entertain the idea and say, hey, that's a nice scoreboard, and they're going to pay for it. So I think each one's done on its own merits.
I agree.
All merits means money. 600,000, you basically said, hey, for 600,000, I'll entertain it and probably vote. That's all I'm saying is, sure. At what point in time do we say, hey,
Thank you, Mr. President. Scott and I had this conversation. We came to speak with you last month. I said, okay, have to be faced, and we all have to be faced, we have to prepare ourselves for the answer to some of those painful questions. One school board in another state, a member was asked, well, are our children going to become human advertising or billboards or something? And I said to Scott, how can I answer that question? And then we just looked at each other. Well, the students today, I mean, even the ones that came in today were wearing Adidas or Nike or Under Armour, and they're wearing those particular ads already on their own because for some reason they like those brands.
See, that's their choice.
That is their choice.
See, so that's a little different. I'm not arguing the point here, but that's their choice.
The varsity team will
You know.
have this particular branding, and sometimes it can take a little while, but it has gone from coast to coast and up and down our state. So
It's not the athlete's choice now. We go with whatever the
most
lowest
our football programs we go with. Yeah, we go with the lowest bid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the point, because that's typically the best bid. We always say. You know what I mean? So that's not the lowest. We try to get the best quality we can, but the lowest amount of money. You know. So going to an exclusive agreement doesn't mean that we're going to get the lowest price. It just means that we've locked into an agreement with a company who's giving us that price at the beginning. You know, so I guess that's my point is that where, and maybe to Robert's point too, where does it kind of stop and how does it show, 5 years? If it's a 5-year agreement, do we get the same price for 5 years, or is there an escalation in it? I mean, they do ROIs, okay, and they're going to realize how much money they're going to make over time. They're in business to make money. I get it, but do we get locked into something that, that maybe not be, at the end of 5 years, we're paying 3 times as much for a football, or a piece of apparel or clothing that we would have paid for, if we would have been on a solicitation with it lower.
Right.
Just be careful, that's all I'm saying.
We appreciate that, so it goes back to the evaluation process.
Mm-hmm.
When we were at San Antonio ISD many years ago, we did an exclusive contract with Coca-Cola for $1 million. All our children got to reach Coca-Cola.
Yes.
However, and that was for 10 years. But we can look at this and renegotiate this as other districts have done, and it's a transition phase if they move away from Under Armour to Adidas or vice versa, so that it doesn't have to happen all at once. Thank goodness we're not here at the bleeding edge of this, so to speak, so we can look around and see, learn lessons from others. I've already spoken with Judson and why did they split their bid. There's pros and cons to that, so we'll learn lessons from our neighbors and how they do it, so we can do it the wisest agreement that we can on behalf of our students.
And I also want to say some sports pay for their uniforms, so that would be a cost that would be passed on to the parent as well. So that's something to think about as well.
And I have one other question, just because I might have missed it. If we go with any brand, doesn't matter what it is, we would exclusively go with that brand for uniforms for every organization for the most part of it.
It'd be, and that'll come out whenever we hear the solicitation. Adidas may provide everything except for wrestling. Nike may provide everything, including wrestling and swimming. So that'll be a part of the evaluation. It'll be a big part of it. Right now I think ours will read just for on the field uniforms for varsity sports. And past those, we'll still be able to transition out of what we have and pass those things down to sub-varsities. And there's no Adidas, Nike, or Under Armour Police that comes in.
Right. And that was my question: is if we went with one brand, doesn't matter what it is, just say Adidas, just for the purposes of this, would they be able to fill the needs of soccer, football, baseball, wrestling, everything? Is that what we're looking for?
Yes, part of it would be high priority to make sure that one company can cover all.
Yeah, I understand. So it's a case-by-case basis. At the end of the day, we're always here to do what's best interest of the district. That's just a determination you make on each case. And honestly, I'll go back. When I first got on this board, believe it or not, we had a gentleman who was going to donate quite a bit of land to the district if we would name a school after his mother. It was one of those, she has no connection to this district. We decided not to take the property. But it's just, you don't always just take something for nothing just because somebody wants to give it to you. So it's just a case-by-case basis. So, yeah. Anything further on this? We're good?
What is the timeline you all anticipate?
Right, we still have to, we wanted to bring it to the board and get some discussion feedback. We have some drafted, some preliminary ideas, so we've got before the board with recommendation in July.
I don't want to drag this any further. Scott, it kills me because I always thought athletics was basically a uniform running around on the field. And when you see college football nowadays, you don't even know who's playing because every week the uniform changes. So you don't even know what team you're watching anymore. So to what extent are you guys, the students participate in this to some extent about what they think is cool and what they want to wear on Friday nights, or is it just coaches are solely in control of all that, or how do you guys have those discussions?
Like I said, a lot of it goes back to the quality and the uniform, really what the kids want to wear. It's we're buying the uniform, so I think this is just a way to help us cost-wise on that.
All right, everybody good with that? Okay. Next item, discussion conveyance of easements to GVEC on Homestead site. Mr. Rivera.
I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Bruce.
Yes, thank you. Briefly, again, this is on the Homestead site on our, up around the northeast corridor, 35. And in order to bring the proper utilities there, especially on the electrical side, which is this item, they were having to grant some easements to GVEC. So the documents are being finalized, and because of the situation involving property, bring it to the board. So this will be brought back to the board in June or July once the documents are totally cleaned up.
Wait, one quick question. Is that underground electric utilities up there, or is it above ground? Do you know? I'm just curious.
Above, I believe it's going to be above.
All right.
Anything further? All right. Next item is a discussion solicitation for high school career readiness instructional materials. Ms. J.
President and Dr. Hughes and members of the board, this solicitation is to purchase instructional materials that were not on the State Board of Education's Proclamation 2017 list of adopted materials or publishers. These purchases will be made through the IMA disbursement or instructional materials allotment disbursement. And so that these adopted materials will meet the TEAS requirements. It is a requirement for high school career readiness programs for healthcare careers, specifically the 2 CTE courses of practicum in health science and veterinary medical applications. And these materials will support student learning leading toward the completion of exams and for potential certification. And after proposals are received and evaluated, the recommendation will be brought back for the board for review and approval.
Question on that?
When do you anticipate?
All right, any further? Okay, the last item, just to kind of go back over this, so, you guys know we usually try to bring everything up to discussion one month and then have it on the consent agenda for the next month. There's no reason to pull it for individual consideration. And it looks to me like we have items 7, 11, 12, possibly 13, 14, 15, 17, and 18 on next June's agenda. And again, you guys can always pull that for individual discussion if you wish. So, any questions, comments about that? No? Okay. All right, that ends our discussion items. We now have action items. First item is the consent agenda items, A through K. Would any trustee like to pull any of those items for individual discussion? Vote. Seeing none, do we have a motion on the consent agenda items?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda items as presented, A through K. Do I need to read each one? A through K.
Do you want to read each one? I'm just, that's good. So, if we have a motion and a second, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Anything further? At this time, the board will then go into closed session. Pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551.074 to discuss personnel matters and 551.072, which is to discuss possible sale or purchase of real property. So the time is now 8:56 p.m. and we estimate that we'll be in closed session for how long? 30 minutes or so, and we'll come back out and take actions as appropriate. All right, it's now 9:33 and the board is out of closed session, and the two items that we discussed in closed session, one dealt with potential purchase of real property and the second dealt with employment issues. So we'll take this in order, just dealing with the employment contract with personnel. First item is discussion pertaining to the employment of the campus principal for Cibolo Valley Elementary. Ms. Cannon?
Yes, the position of campus principal is replacing a budgeted position for the 16-17, actually 17-18 school year, depending on the candidate availability. You're probably for the 17-18 school year. Funded from the 17-18 general operating budget.
We have a motion on this item?
You'll give me the paper on it.
It's the employment of the principal, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the employment of the campus principal discussed in closed session for Cibolo Valley Elementary School.
I second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is, it's going to be personnel probationary contract recommendations.
Yes. The Chapter 21 and non-Chapter 21 personnel contracts were approved by the board upon employment. The recommendations for these contracts are in accordance with Texas Education Code Chapter 21. The board is required to notify probationary contracts employees no later than the 10th day before the last day of instruction as to the state of their employment.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the personnel probationary contracts for school year 2017-2018 as presented in closed session.
I second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion also passes unanimously. The last employment one is the request for board action on employment of contractual personnel. Ms. Cannon.
Yes, these positions on the employment that's provided are replacing and filling new budgeted positions for this 17-18 school year.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. President, I'm sorry. I was thinking about something else. Mr. President, I move that the board approve the employment of contractual personnel that was discussed in closed session.
I second.
Motion and second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next item dealt with the request for more consideration, possible action, authorization for the superintendent to enter into negotiations for real estate pertaining to the purchase of land for a possible school site. Two different sites, one near Green Valley Road, east of FM 1103, and the second was Alpha FM 78 in Cibolo. So we have a motion on those items.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the authorization for the superintendent to enter into negotiations for real estate pertaining to the purchase of the land for a possible school site as discussed in closed session and the amount for such as discussed in closed session.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that item. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, motion also passes unanimously. All right, so that concludes our action items. A few more things we have to cover just as a board. Number one, review of board member attendance at TASB Summer Leadership Institute in San Antonio and Fort Worth. Does anyone plan on attending either of those two?
I am here. I'm not going to Fort Worth.
Yeah. Mark is going to San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Robert is attending San Antonio.
Yeah, I'm thinking about San Antonio.
Jerry is thinking about San Antonio. You're on both? No on both? All right. Okay. Yeah, I was about to throw out our district and or me, whoever shows up, has a presentation, I believe, on Thursday morning of each session. One in San Antonio, one in Fort Worth. So whoever,
I can help you on Thursday.
Probably best if I send out an email and then whoever wants to, we can all be there. We don't have to have a posted meeting and whatnot. We can all participate in doing that. It's a presentation we've done a couple times now.
So you can help them there and I'll.
You want to do the Fort Worth one?
Yeah. Oh, I have to.
Hey, wear your cowboy hat.
Oh, wouldn't I?
And belt buckle.
Texas.
Okay, so on that, we need to get together with Priscilla, right? And we actually have to itemize what classes we're going to go to. And,
That's right.
and also, I believe, so I get the free registration for both, and then whoever else is a co-presenter, we get free registration.
We have 2 registrations for each
Yeah.
of the conventions.
You go forward for free.
So, yeah. And then we will,
I can go Thursday and half day Friday in San Antonio, but I just didn't want us to pay for it if I wasn't going to use it.
Well, I'll coordinate with everybody, send out an email, and then we'll get all that submitted, and then, because there's a code you have to put in there to get the free registrations.
we'll work it
Sound
out
good?
one way or the other.
All right, thanks, Steve. Next, a review of board member attendance at the curriculum audit debrief sessions, which I believe are next, the 25th?
Yeah, and Priscilla,
She said that.
I appreciate you have that DVD.
I do, and the only one I'm not sure of right now is Mr. Westbrook. Are you going to be able to attend?
I'm going to try to do the 8:30 one.
You are? Okay. We'll put you down for that. And we're good. We don't have more than 2 board members at any session.
Yeah, that's great.
The 4:30 is now
The 4:15 is Mr. Inman and Mr. Carew.
All right, everybody okay with that?
How long is it scheduled to last?
90 minutes, yeah, hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on, probably depending on the audience and how quickly they go through it. I think that.
Sure.
About how long did you think?
Hour and a half to 2 hours.
Just as much as you can stay for. You'll hear this again, but this is a good way to hear it the first time, because that's really what we're on. And we'll be bringing it back anytime.
Straight from him.
Next item, review of electronic devices for board member use during board meetings. So this is not about using your cell phone, Mr. Crew, to text friends and family. Dr. Gibson, you want to take that?
We had sent out emails about having the tablets instead of your Surface Pros, and everybody seemed to be affirmative about that, except for Mr. Perkins. So I think we're going to go ahead and order them, but you always have the option of keeping that one if you would like.
What are we going to do?
The iPads.
My experience was if you ever have to use anything Microsoft and you're trying to use an iPad, you have to get, it doesn't work like you want it to work.
Right.
some of those kinks have been worked out. I'll just attest to that.
Will you go ahead and tentatively plan scheduling for Mr. Inman on training on his iPad, please?
I just got this one figured out. Okay, so everyone okay with that? And so when is this taking place, or when do we know?
We'll get the purchase order in, and we'll keep you updated as to when you're
All right, next item, review of board master calendar and request for future discussion items. Mr. Perkins, were you able to pull it up? Just highlight things that are going on over the next month.
All right, I'm going to highlight, we've got a graduation from Allison Steele on the 31st at 6:30 in Trinity. We've got a graduation from...
Any reason why someone would not be able to go that night? Okay.
I'm not going to be able,
No, yeah, okay.
I know I'm not going to be Allison Stills. I'm flying in from Oklahoma Walking.
Somebody want to write this down?
She gave us.
We have.
We got
There were papers that were given to you to complete.
You got to check it out.
Because we do have Suburbans reserved if anybody would like to travel together.
We've got a graduation from Byron Steele High School on June 1st, 7:30 p.m. at Freeman Coliseum. We've got a graduation from Clemens High School Friday, June 2nd, 7:30 p.m. at Freeman Coliseum. We've got the TASB Summer Leadership Institute in San Antonio, 15 to 17 June, and 14 to 17 June, and then we have the TASB Summer Leadership in Fort Worth on 21st through the 24th of June.
Okay.
So we've got our standard chamber luncheons and Northeast Partnership. Did they vote not to do it in June?
I think July the 9th.
July the 9th.
I think they are in June.
We did join institutionally, just so you're aware. Actually, I think it had to be through my name, the Rotary that meets. And so anybody that wants to go to those can go with me or instead of me anytime you want to. It meets every Wednesday.
There's talk that they're going to switch it to every other Wednesday just because it's too many. But
that's good.
All right. Any requests for future agenda items?
And this would be the point to our earlier conversation where we either have a separate agenda item right here and or just make it part of this one. That if you, anything you're unclear on that you want additional training on or any communication, we just ask that at this point.
All right. One final thing. I know leadership TASB application period is now open. And I know, Mr. Crew, you applied last year. I don't know if you were planning on doing it again or not. Or, we kind of
He's distracted.
the deadline's what, June 30th or something like that? And we have to approve that as a board, just based on our own.
At the June meeting.
Yeah. So I'm not making you commit or anything, but you plan on applying? Okay. Is anyone else more eager to apply?
You're right.
Yeah, don't let us down this time like last time. Okay. No, it's a great program, and certainly, John, I'd encourage you to apply for it because it's a good thing to do. So,
I just wish I had more mentorship, that's all.
yeah. All right, Dr. Gibson has one other thing before we close out.
Yeah, in this week's board update, I'm just going to draw attention to the fact that TASBO report that comes out once a month or once a quarter, maybe once a month. In this edition that came out today, the May edition on page 8 and 9, and we'll send this to you tomorrow. It's a nice article, very nice article about our transition and our succession plan of passing the torch, Chief Financial Officer succession planning. So they wrote it up as a best practice statewide, how we're transitioning this and recommending it to other districts as a way for 39 years of experience to not just walk out of the door one day and we're scrambling to try to figure out how to backfill that. How much are you enjoying
For the being? first time ever, has not texted me all night.
So that's And what is your nickname for her?
Miyagi.
Miyagi. And you're wax on, wax on? Okay.
All right, anything further? All right, as nothing further, we will stand adjourned at 9:45 p.m.